Subscribe please guys, cause it motivates me to post more for you guys. A small request, please consider subscribing. Fairy Tale. Dark Heart. By RATEDN 777. Naruto Namikaze is a young wizard who lost what was important to him from a young age, but in time, he will gain new friends and a family who will fight for him. I do not own Naruto, Fairy Tale or any other piece of fiction referenced or utilized in this story. Spark. The young boy ran away from a group of older boys, shouting, "Can't catch me." The young boy, who appeared to be no more than 8 years old, had blue eyes, blonde hair with spiky hair, and facial birthmarks that resembled whiskers. He was dressed in blue shorts, sandals, and a white shirt. The boy with blonde hair turned into an alleyway and guided them to his trap. The blonde made another turn. "He's he." Hi. Exclaimed the leader as he stumbled and his allies landed on top of him. They found their way to the blonde boy's trap after he spilled a slick substance. The bullies were then covered in manure that he had thrown at them in a bucket. The leader exclaimed, "You. It stinks," as they all rose and fled. The blonde was laughing heartily at his work and rolling on the ground, saying, "Next time, pick on someone your own size." The boy said, "That's what you get when you try to pick on a girl in front of Naruto Namikaze." Even though nobody else was present. Naruto thought to himself, "Great, I'm talking to myself again." He heard thunder and raised his head to see clouds forming. "I have to get home before it gets too wet." As the rain began to fall, it got heavier and Naruto fled for his home. Soon after arriving at his house, Naruto noticed a man with blonde hair who bore a striking resemblance to him. The blonde man worriedly called out to Naruto, who had already run past him and was now standing by the fireplace. "Naruto. There you are. Get in before you catch a cold." The man approached Naruto and gave him a head pat. "That's my boy." Naruto cheerfully said to his father, "Hey dad. Sorry about that, I just wanted to get warm." The father grinned. After hearing his father say, "I know you do, that's why I set up a warm bath for you. Wouldn't want you to catch a cold. Now, head to the bathroom and take a bath. As soon as you're done, I'll have ramen ready for you." Naruto immediately went to the bathroom. "That's my boy," grinning, he returned to preparing the ramen. Not surprisingly, Naruto filled up with 3 large bowls of ramen after an hour, and he had even taken a bath. He was now wearing his pajamas, which featured frogs on them. After brushing his teeth, he tucked himself into bed. "What the hey dad?" Naruto caught his father's eye. His father simply gave him a pat on the head and said, "I can't sleep, do you think you could read me a story?" Naruto's father went to the bookshelf and looked through a list of books. "Sure. And I have just a story, if I can find the right book." "Ah. Here it is. Let me see a book about idols. Now it's a enter. Ah. This is it." Naruto's father brought him an old rare book with a faded title. As his father took a seat next to him and started reading an exciting story, Naruto became very excited. Quickly. Satisfied with the tales he had heard about these warriors, Naruto drifted off to sleep while his father grinned and closed the book. He covered Naruto with the blanket and kissed his forehead, saying, "Good night Naruto, have sweet dreams." And with that, he made his way to his own bed and fell asleep. Even though the rain was still pouring, Naruto's father heard a knock at the door a few hours later. Father Naruto rose from his bed and moved toward the door. "Is there anyone here at this hour?" He knew that his son was hyper, so he knew that he would benefit from getting some sleep. "I don't want Naruto to wake up, and I promise to spend the day with him tomorrow, so I need my sleep too." He let out one last yawn and opened the door, startled to see who stood before him. This man had brown hair, green eyes, and a deeper skin tone. To protect his hair from the rain, he wore a hat under his light brown coat. Naruto's father asked, "Mr. Kakuzu, what are you doing here?" But he got a little defensive. Kakuzu said to the blonde-haired man, "Ah, I finally found you Minato, may I come in?" And he made room for her. The older man took a chair, and Kakuzu placed his coat and hat on a stand, while Minato poured him some tea. Then Minato arrived with a cup of tea of his own. "So, this is where you disappeared off to. I was surprised to learn you became a chef of some backwater village, you of all people." Minato said, his expression neutral, showing no sign of weakness. "It may not be as lucrative as my old job, but it is something I enjoy, and seeing the people smile makes it worthwhile. If you want me to return, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed." "I figured you would say that, but that isn't the reason I am here." Once Kakuzu's tea was done, he pulled out a scroll and gave it to Minato. With some sweat trickling down the left side of his face, Minato took it from him and opened it. When Minato turned to face Naruto, she said, "That's right Minato, I'm here too." "Who's the kid?" With his back to Kakuzu, Minato stood in front of his son and said, "Naruto. Why are you up at this hour?" Naruto yawned and rubbed his left eye. "I had to use the bathroom and then I heard you talking with someone." Minato hurried him back to his bed, saying, "Well, time for bed, my friend here was about to leave. Now, off to bed you go." However, Naruto could not help but glance at Kakuzu for a brief moment. "This guy seems a little frightening," Naruto said as he turned around, fearing for his father. When they got to Naruto's room, Minato was asked a question by the young child. "Who's your friend dad?" he looks scary. He's just an old work buddy named Kakuzu. Yes, he's really scary, but don't worry, your dad can handle him. Go to sleep now, and I'll be with you all day tomorrow, Minato said, causing Naruto to nod off rapidly. After that, Minato headed back in Kakuzu's direction. Kakuzu assured him with absolute certainty, I see you've been busy. Cute kid, but that's not going to stop what's going to happen. With a determined expression, Minato gave him a look of acceptance. I know. The following day, Minato asked his son, who was also wearing an apron, it's unfortunate that the rain continued today, but did you have fun, Naruto? Father ruffled Naruto's hair and grinned, saying, yeah. And soon I'll be a better chef than even you dad. If I don't become a wizard first it is. Minato told his son, I'm sure you will, now let's eat. Before he went to set the table and Minato went with him. Minato noticed Naruto's excitement at getting him to sample his stew. Naruto and Minato clasped hands and started eating as she reminded him to be grateful for the food. This is really good, Naruto. You improved from last time. Naruto confidently told him, of course. I practiced and practiced. No way I was going to fail this time. Recalling how much work he put into his cooking, he now feels comfortable preparing any kind of meal. My boy has talent, considering that his first attempt wasn't too bad. When it comes to cooking, playing cards, and wagering him ramen from his favorite stand for a week is a kind of amusement. However, Minato was taken aback by Naruto's absurdly good fortune. Minato looked at the clock and said, Tsunade would love to have your luck. It's almost time. My son, I wish I had more time to spend with you. Minato put Naruto to sleep and gave him a quick hug. Naruto, would you like to hear a story? He asked, nodding enthusiastically. Naruto asked his father, what story is it? Does it have monsters again? His father smiled, but it stopped short of his eyes. Minato sat next to Naruto and held him, saying, it's not one with monsters, but it's an old favorite of mine. Once upon a time, there was a family of wolves that loved and protected each other. Their leader was a wolf named Arashi who had a son named Menma. Minato's grin started to falter. This gave Naruto a little chill. One day, strange people arrived and began to hunt them down. Most of the wolves were gone, with only Arashi and Menma left. Arashi took Menma and led them to safety, but the hunters were still after them. Minato concealed his tears. Arashi immediately made the decision to either continue running with his son or to give up on him, so that he could live another day. What he desired to accomplish and brought his son along. Minato shed a tear, which his son saw. Naruto asked his father, why are you crying, Dad? The father wiped away his tear and merely offered his son a phony smile. Nothing. This story is just really sad, Naruto. You see, Arashi chose his son over his own life. This surprised Naruto. Arashi hid his son from view and led him to safety, saying, stay here, Menma, no matter how difficult it is, please do not make a sound until I lead them away. But know this, my son, no matter what happens to me, always remember that I love you, and that I will always be with you. This time, Naruto started to sniffle. He didn't like this story because it made him sad, but he also wanted to know more, what would happen to Menma without his father. That was the last time Menma saw his father. It started to rain as Menma cried out for his father, even though he knew that his father was never coming back. Years later, as Menma matured into a powerful wolf, he never forgot what had happened to his father. Even after forming his own pack, which would frighten away any intruders, including hunters, he swore to find his own father's killer. He searched for his father's killer for the rest of his life, even going so far as to leave his pack, but he was never able to track him down. Eventually, he wandered around until one day he came across two men, which set Naruto's heart racing. Naruto inquired as to what Menma would do next, asking, what happened next? I was just getting to that. Menma then surprised the men and attacked them, injuring one of them, whilst the other one ran away. Menma saw how weak and feeble the man was, and it made him remember how he felt when he was cub. He realized that this man was not a hunter, and he allowed his need for revenge to control, and it caused him to lose his pack again. So, he left and searched for his pack. Minato grinned. He would find them and rejoin the pack. They traveled together and protected other creatures from hunters. Menma had finally moved on. Naruto then questioned him, saying, that was a good story, Dad. I didn't like it at first, but I like that Menma got his happy ending. Hey, Dad. Play Sean's theme from the Kingdom Heart sauce. Yes, son. Minato asked as he glanced at Naruto, maintaining his customary smile, but even Naruto sensed that something was wrong with Minato, because the smile stopped short of his eyes. Minato dreaded Naruto's question, you won't leave me alone. You'll still be here with me, right, Dad? Minato sighed before continuing. Naruto, I promise not to lie to you. The time will come when I can no longer be here, and you'll eventually have to make do without me. Minato was honest with Naruto, and acknowledged that his son was distressed. However, that doesn't mean I have to be ignored. Naruto, you see, I will. Minato gestured to I will always be with you, no matter how far apart we are. I will always exist in your memories and most importantly, in there. The heart of Naruto. As long as I'm in your heart, you and I will never be apart. Do you understand? While grinning, Naruto yawned, saying, I think so. Minato felt a connection to Naruto's question, do you ever miss mom? But all he could do was smile miserably. Naruto just hugged Minato, surprising him. I miss her a lot. She may no longer be with us, but she's in my heart, and the memories of the time we spent together will always be with me. My only regret is that you never got to know her. Minato gave Naruto a hug in return, and Naruto said, I always wanted to meet mom, but at least I have you dad. Eventually, Naruto started to feel fatigue. After tucking Naruto in, Minato planted a kiss on his forehead. Minato bid his son good night, saying, I love you son, never forget that. And remember this. If you are ever lost, may your heart be your guiding key. Termination. Minato moved to the living room and started writing on a paper. After a few minutes, he was sitting by himself in his chair, wearing an expression of acceptance. Goodbye, my son. May your heart be your guiding key, Minato said, closing his eyes as he came to terms with his impending fate. The following morning, with a yawn, Naruto extended his arms. After giving his eyes a quick rub, he got out of bed. He moved toward the living area. Naruto called out to his father, Hey dad. What's for breakfast? But he did not receive a response. Naruto kept calling out to him, Dad, before heading into the living room. Young Naruto was startled when he discovered Minato lying on the ground. Now that he was at his father's side, Naruto exclaimed, Dad. After noticing blood on the ground. Dad. Naruto turned his father around with both arms, and was shocked to see what he found. Minato had a cut on his neck and bloodstains on his mouth. Destiny, fairy tale lost. Dad. Wake up please. See come on, this is a J-joke alright. Tears were already streaming down Naruto's face as he tried in vain to rouse his father. Naruto cried out for his father to wake up until he remembered what the man had said to him the previous evening. Naruto, I'm not going to lie to you. There will come a day where I won't be around, and sooner or later you'll have to carry on without me. And no. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It is impossible for you to be dead. It is not possible for you to be. I wanted you to be there the moment I turned into a wizard. I wanted you to be there for me when I grew up. I wished we had more time together. Naruto's face was a mess as his tears fell freely. Naruto put his arms around his father's head and pleaded, Dad. Please wake up. Naruto cried out, Ag. Until something inside of him snapped and his body erupted in a powerful power burst. Ascend, in the village of Naruto and Minato. How amazing the magic is. An elderly man smoking a pipe sensed Naruto's magical abilities emerging. This man had on white and red robes and Donna had matched in color to his robes. The village chief, Hiruzen Sarutobi, is this man. Naruto, this power is coming from Minato's house. Hiruzen wasted little time in moving toward the village's periphery, where Minato's residence was located. Fortunately, the locals are unable to detect magical power. How could I have sensed it from this distance? Naruto, if you were to train and gain control over with your magical power, you'll become a formidable opponent. Hiruzen accelerated, but his advanced stage hindered his progress. Hiruzen was unaware that someone else was drawn to Naruto's outburst. Someone who already had evil in their hearts. But turning with Naruto. Naruto's final power faded and he began to pant. Then Naruto saw how dilapidated the house appeared. What emotion was that? And did I carry out this task? Naruto remembered the power he had experienced, but he had been too grieving to notice it until now. He wiped away his tears and returned his gaze to his father's corpse. Naruto jumped in fear and turned around to see a hulking figure. So, you were the cause of that power surge. The man was elderly, with a long white beard that hung down to his lower chest, and an eye patch covering his right eye. At first scared, Naruto calmed down and appeared angry, his magic starting to flow again. Who are you? He exclaimed. With an intensity no child should ever see, Naruto glared at him, asking, Did you take my dad from me? Even though he's still a child, his magic is this high. Similar to Ultier, I can persuade him to enlist, the elderly man mused to himself. Naruto stopped using magic at this point and looked down until he remembered Minato's old friend's name. No, I just happened to pass by and I sense your power. Whoever killed your father must be long gone by now. Kakuzu. The elderly man said, Excuse me. Despite not understanding what or who Naruto was referring to, he thought he recognized Kakuzu's name. The elderly man said, There was a man named Kakuzu here 2 nights ago. My dad was acting weird that night. Naruto's rage momentarily returned. Well, then. I have a suggestion, you can come with me and we can find out who truly murdered your father. He shocked Naruto by saying this. What's in it for you? Naruto was told by his father that he should never trust strangers because they usually have malicious intentions. Your father has taught you to be cautious of strangers, I see. Very wise of him. I'll be honest, I belong to a guild, and after sensing your magical power, I think you possess potential to become a powerful wizard. The old man smirked as Naruto's curiosity and need to find. His father's color overtook him. What is your name, young one? The old man held out his right hand. My name is Naruto. Who are you? Naruto slowly reached out with his right hand until it finally grabbed the old wizard's own. I am the guild master of Grimoire Heart. You may call me Master Hades. Outside the house, Hades revealed to Naruto that he arrived on a ship. By the time Hiruzen arrived, Naruto had already left with Hades, and he found was a ruined house and Minato's corpse. Damn it. I was too late. With this Hiruzen promised himself that he would never allow this to happen again, and would begin to retrain his body and regain his lost strength. Element. What is this place? Naruto asked Hades, who walked alongside him in a mysterious hallway. This is currently our headquarters, but not for much longer, since we'll soon be moving out from here. I understand that you need time to grieve for your father, so rest for a few days and I'll send someone to give you food in your room. Hades told the blonde boy only for Naruto to shake his head. No. Just give me a day and then I want to start my training. Naruto's eyes showed determination, something that Hades noticed. Very well. Get some rest and I will begin your training tomorrow. You will get a chance to meet your future comrades soon. Hades led Naruto to his room and smiled at the blonde's determination. This boy wants to find his father's killer, who might to deny him his wish. With Hiruzen. It's been 3 days, Minato. But I swear, I will find Naruto no matter what. Hiruzen stood in front of Minato's grave and placed white roses in front of it. I'll be going now, Minato. Please watch over Naruto, wherever he is. Hiruzen then made his way back the village and reached his house. Hiruzen's house looked more like an office, but it also had pictures of various people. One was a picture of when he was younger alongside a woman. There were a few more pictures, which showed his entire family. I'm sorry that I won't be joining you all anytime soon, but I must do something important before I can. Hiruzen then looked at the final picture, a picture of him, Minato and Naruto. Hiruzen sat down and began to write a letter. The next morning, Hiruzen had resigned as village leader and left with most of his belongings. Back with Hades. Master Hades, who is that boy I saw earlier? Why is he on board this ship? A young girl stood in front of Hades. She looked only a few years older than Naruto. She had dark-colored hair. Altair, I see that you were spying on me earlier. To answer your question, that boy is your new comrade, so welcome him with open arms. His name is Naruto, so introduce yourself and when you have an opportunity. Hades simply replied to her and opened up a book. He doesn't look like much though. Are you sure he should join our guild? She asked the old man with a questioning gaze, only serving to make the old man laugh. Let me tell you this, Altair, Naruto is no ordinary boy. Just like you, he possesses immense magical power. In fact, it's comparable to your own. This shocked the little girl, who found this hard to believe. Then I'll be going, Master Hades. I'll introduce myself to Naruto right now. Altair made to leave the room until Hades stopped her with his voice. Do not be too harsh on him. His father was killed a few days ago, and he's still recovering from this incident. He told her. Altair simply nodded and left the room. Altair will do anything to achieve her goal, that's why she chose her magic and allowed those people to experiment on her. However, Naruto is a different story. He had organic link magic placed on him. His magic was sealed from a young age, perhaps when he was a baby. Hades flipped a page of his book. Seeing his father's corpse must have broken the link, or perhaps the link broke before he saw his father. Did his own father seal his magic? With Naruto. Naruto was having some soup and bread, but it tasted bland to him. He still finished it because his father once told him not to waste food because there are those that did not have the same luxury as him. He was deep in his own thoughts that he did not hear the door open. I have magic now, so I can get stronger and find Kakuzu and get answers. Naruto had dark thoughts forming, not noticing Altair arrive and touch his shoulder. Hey, are you alright? She surprised him and he jumped into the air, screaming for his life and making Altair hold her ears. Hey, not so loud. Altair yelled at the blonde, who calmed down after Altair's initial surprise. Hey, you were the one who spooked me. I wouldn't have screamed if you just called out my name instead of touching my shoulder. Naruto exclaimed loudly, reverting back to his old self. Well, I just wanted to see how you were doing. Sorry for worrying about you. You short blonde-haired buffoon. Altair was annoyed by Naruto's attitude and stooped to his level. In what way do I look like a balloon? Naruto's anger subsided and he misheard the word she called him. What? No. I called you a buffoon. Not a balloon. Altair's anger was turned into humor as she started to laugh, with Naruto glaring at her until he himself started to laugh. Sorry about that, but you did surprise me. Naruto felt a lot better, as did Altair. Also, even if you did call out my name, I have no idea. You are aware even if you know my name. My name is Naruto. Namikaze. She's pretty. Naruto thought about Altair, hiding his blush. I'm Altair Milkovich. When Naruto heard her name, he became confused just like before. Ultimate Milk Sandwich. That's a weird name, no offense. Naruto just made her giggle. No. My first name is Altair. Altair. And then Milkovich. Milkovich. She emphasized her names, and Naruto just apologized for it. This boy is a moron, but he's quite cute. and I already at ease with him. Altair never really interacted with someone around her age, and Naruto was close enough to her age. Altair Milkovich. Yeah, I think I got that. So, why are you in my room? Naruto asked her, and her response was almost instant. Well, Master Hades told me to introduce myself, so I decided to greet you now. He also told me about what to your father. Altair commented, making Naruto go silent. Before he could reply, Altair continued. I'm sorry for your loss and you don't have to talk about it now, or even later. But if you ever need someone to talk to, I'll be around. Altair left Naruto to his thoughts, his mood immediately souring again. Naruto went to sleep soon after, determination on his mind for tomorrow he shall begin his training to become a wizard. The next day. Now Naruto, this is where we'll discover which magic is best for you. Since you unlocked your magic earlier, you can already access it. This archive is filled with scrolls and books that contain all different types of magic. Find the one that speaks to you. Hades told Naruto, who was confused by the last part. What do you mean by the one that speaks to me? Naruto asked him. You'll understand soon enough. Now, I'll leave you to it. Hades left the archives, with Naruto looking through different scrolls and books. Magic that speaks to me. Does he mean I'll know which magic I want to learn when I find it? Naruto then realized that he had his work cut out for him. Well, I can't get anywhere if I don't start now. Naruto began to go through the contents to search for the magic most suitable to him. A few hours passed and Naruto was still searching. Okay. Spirit magic. Arc of space. Water god slayer magic. Naruto thought that the last one sounded cool, but was then surprised by a tap on his shoulder. Oh, hey Altair, why are you here? Is that for me? Naruto noticed Altair brought a tray of food with her and placed it on the desk. Just checking up on you. Master Hades told me that you were here for hours and told me to give you some food. After all, a growing boy needs his nutrition. So, I'm guessing that you haven't found magic you want to learn yet. Altair asked him, his reply being a small nod. No. But the old man told me about finding the magic that speaks to me. What did he mean by that? Naruto asked the older girl, who understood. You need to figure out that on your own. Enjoy your meal though and good luck. Altair winked at him and left him to his own devices. He called Master Hades old man, he really is quite strange. Naruto kept looking through the shelves until he reached the top. Okay, please let me find something. Naruto climbed the ladder and picked up an old worn-out book. Naruto prayed to himself and began to read the contents of the book until he finally understood. Hades' earlier words. This is it. Naruto climbed back down and was about to leave until he remembered his food. He stopped himself and began to eat. Despite finding the food lacking flavor, he finished his meal and left to find Hades. Magnolia Town. Damn council, what are they thinking? Because of the Orochimaru escaped again. The short old man was bald from the top and had thick white hair on the outer rims of his head. He has a thick and bushy mustache on his face. He wore black pants and a white tunic, which are the symbol of his guild on his collar, the guild known as Fairy Tail. He is the third guild master and a member of the 10 Wizard Saints, Makarov Dreyer. Right now, they sat on top of Fairy Tail's building. What's wrong, Maki? Thinking about the council's actions again. Next to Makarov is Ujima, an old friend and now currently a member of the Magic Council, the same council Makarov dislikes. But you have to ask. Because of them, Orochimaru is loose in the world, all because they were too busy. If I ever find him, I'm bringing him in for all the tragedies he caused. Makarov told Ujima with absolute certainty. That monster is long gone by now. And the council has its reasons this time, and no, unfortunately, I cannot tell you as most of the details have been kept from even me. That and I have also been sworn into secrecy by the chairman if they ever tell me. I'm sorry my old friend. Ujima gave Makarov an apologetic look. It is fine. Your hands are tied, and I know that you used your position to defend us. But now I'm worried that those old crones will do something stupid. I don't know I could ever become a member. Like you? Makarov asked his old friend. You already have your hands full looking after your guild. And you don't seem the type, especially with the amount of paperwork I had to do. Ujima just made Makarov shiver. No thanks. I already have enough paperwork as it is. Though I do think it'll be fun to mess with them if I became one. Makarov had a devious grin, making Ujima worry. Master Makarov. A high-pitched voice called out for the old man. Makarov saw that a bird with a wizard hat arrived. Master Makarov, your subordinates told me that I would find you here. You have a letter from Hiruzen Tsurutobi. Hiruzen. Haven't heard from him for a while. Wonder what he could want. Makarov thanked the bird and opened the letter to read it. After reading it, his face changing to one of sadness before it contorted to one of rage. What's wrong, Maki? Ujima asked the guildmaster. It's Minato. Minato was killed. And his son is missing. Makarov was angry that someone killed Minato, but also more concerned for Naruto. His magic began to leak out, alerting the wizards inside the guild hall. Hiruzen will be here in a few days, he better explain what happened. Back with Naruto. Superb. You have chosen a magic that shows promise. Hades stood in front of Naruto, who had darkness channeled into his hands. However, Naruto couldn't control it, and accidentally sent out a blast at Hades, who then widened his lone eye and released a shockwave, dispersing the blast. However, unfortunately, it's a magic that is difficult to control and master. Sorry. I guess I need to practice before I can use it properly. But the power felt amazing. Naruto exclaimed and felt something inside of him. I need to work hard and learn how to use this magic, so I can find Dad's killer and then end him. Naruto had dark thoughts about finding Minato's killer, regardless of whether it was indeed Kakuzu or not who killed his father. He would find the one responsible. Immediately after, Naruto began training in a special room, trying to channel the darkness in his hands, only to release more blasts from his hands. That boy, he is already causing damage to the reinforced chamber. That darkness magic of his is potent, and his magic power level is quite remarkable for his age too. Though unlike his father, he lacks the talent necessary. Minato was a prodigy. An extremely pale skin stood beside Hades. He had long dark-colored hair and purple marks around his eyes, which were yellow and slitted. This man is Orochimaru, one of the most wanted rogue wizards all throughout Fiori, and even the entire continent of Ishikar. They both saw Naruto's progress through a monitor. You may be considered a genius, but right now you are underestimating this child. You may not see it, but I do. I have seen people like Naruto, who have proved to me that natural-born talent is no substitute for hard work. Even geniuses must train their minds and bodies to progress. I trained and so have you. Hades countered Orochimaru's point with one of his own. Perhaps. The boy still interests me. He is the son of the man they called the Yellow Flash. Pity that Minato gave up his position to live the life of a civilian, all that service in the military wasted. At least I utilized my time wisely. Orochimaru replied, gazing at Naruto once more. May I experiment on the boy? Orochimaru was met with a glare, some magic leaking out of Hades. You are not to touch the boy, or else I will personally end you. Hades warned him, forcing Orochimaru to tread lightly now. I understand. I am currently no match for him, and even if I was, I still need more information for my research. Orochimaru and Hades continued observing Naruto, who began to make progress. 2 years later, Act 777. He sent Naruto to a forest full of Vulcans and tasked him to wipe them out. But master, the place you sent him to is known to House of Wyvern. A 12-year-old Altair was a little worried for the younger boy. You seen what he did to the reinforced chamber? I have learned that when you put Naruto in a dangerous situation, his potential grows exponentially. Hades told the young girl. It will be fine, he agreed to this and wanted this. He will help us reach the ultimate magic world. I hope he's okay. Why do I care about that brat anyway? Altair thought to herself, but despite telling herself that Naruto was a tool for her own goals, she grew to care for him as a friend. Unknown force. Great, I'm lost. This training mission Grandpa Hades sent me on is just boring. And also I can test my magic out. I mean it was pretty sweet blasting those giant monkeys earlier, but I went overboard. Naruto was a little taller and wore blue pants, a white shirt, black shoes, and orange jacket with a hoodie. Come to think of it, didn't Altair mention this forest before Grandpa Hades sent me here? She said that there was a giant wildcat or something. As if by coincidence, Naruto heard a roar, followed by a scream. Now I remember. It was a wyvern. Oh crap. Naruto followed the sounds of the wyvern's roar and the scream. Naruto ran, moving much as fast as he could. Despite being a child, he was quite fast, used to running away from most people back in his old village after pranking them. He arrived to find the wyvern roaring. The wyvern was green in color, its arms were basically its wings, and it almost resembled a dragon. Its most prominent feature was its left eye, or rather lack of, as it had a large scar in place of it, and it was still fresh with some blood falling from it. It was much larger than those Vulcans he defeated earlier. Who are you? A meek voice called out to Naruto, who looked at the side. Hiding being a tree was a girl around his age. She had dark blue hair that reached up to her neck, fair skin and brown eyes. She must be the one who screamed. Did she do that to this thing's eye? Is she a wizard? Naruto put those thoughts aside and rushed towards the wyvern, his fists covered in dark energy. I'm going to kick your ass. Fairy Tail lost release power. Wait. Wyverns are much smarter than they look. The girl warned Naruto, only to be ignored. The wyvern flew out of the way, making Naruto miss. Naruto rolled of the way as the wyvern attacked with its tail, leaving a small crater around the same size. That tail struck. One good hit and I'm a goner. Naruto could tell that the wyvern possessed tremendous strength. It began to swipe it rapidly, forcing Naruto to think fast and cover his arms in darkness, meaning even if the wyvern landed a hit, it would hurt itself too. However, the wyvern saw Naruto's arms and flapped its wings to avoid touching Naruto with its tail. What? This thing just avoided touching me. Wait, didn't she just mention this thing being smarter than it looks? Naruto then realized that he needed to get the girl out of here and ran towards her, grabbing her arm. What? The girl was surprised by the boy who grabbed her arm. Sorry about grabbing your arm, but I need to get you out of here. I will forgive myself if you got hurt. Naruto told her, causing the girl to blush a little. Think, Naruto, think. Gotta distract this beast somehow. Naruto then had an idea. Darkness blast. Naruto quickly channeled darkness into right hand, and then blasted the ground in front of the wyvern, creating a smoke screen which blocked the wyvern's vision. The wyvern flapped its wings to blow away the smoke, only to see the children gone. Got you? Naruto surprised the beast and jumped on its back, with the creature unable to reach its back. It took flight, with Naruto barely clinging to his back. Crap. I didn't think this through. Naruto looked at its wings and thought of a plan, channeling darkness into his right hand. I really hope that I land on something soft. Naruto released a blast, which pierced the wyvern's left wing, making it scream and loss. Altitude. Naruto then jumped off his back, the wyvern then crash-landed far away from. Ascend. Gotta do something. I can't die here. Naruto was falling in fast. Luckily for him, he was stopped by something just before he could hit the ground. Wait. Is the wind stopping me from falling? Naruto was right, as a gust of wind slowly made him descend. He saw that the girl he helped raised her hands, causing the wind to slowly blow in his direction. She's a wizard. And she saved me. Naruto was grateful, but the girl then lost control, and Naruto began to float around until her spell dispelled, with Naruto landing on his face. Ow? Naruto thought to himself. I'm sorry. The girl was by his now and looked worried. That was the first time I did that. Are you okay? The girl asked the blonde, who just got up and touched his nose. Why yeah. But we better get out of here, no telling if that wyvern will come back. My name is Naruto by the way, Naruto Namikaze. Naruto told after dusting himself off. I'm Wendy. Wendy Marvell. And? Sorry for the delay, was trying to finish this earlier, but something always comes up. Hope you enjoyed this chapter, please leave a review, and if you need a chat about this story or anything else, leave a PM. Urple. Well, nice to meet you Wendy. Were you the one who damaged the wyvern's eye? Naruto asked Wendy, who looked down, a little embarrassed. I did, but it was an accident on my part. My magic is usually meant to help people and not for fighting. I just got lucky. Wendy replied, still looking at her feet. So, what? You're a kid like me and you did good getting away from that thing. Naruto then realized that Wendy was alone. Wait, why are you alone in this forest? Where were your parents? Now Wendy's disposition changed from embarrassed to sad, she started to cry. Which Naruto caught. I mean you don't have to tell me. I didn't mean to upset you. Naruto was flailing his arms and was apologizing for his insensitivity. No, it's okay. Wendy wiped her tears away with her hands. But since you asked, I wasn't on my own until a few days ago. The truth is that I'm looking for my mother, but I can't find her. Wendy told him the truth, with Naruto showing sympathy. Your mother is missing. Then I'll help you find her. Where did you last see her? Maybe we can find some clues from there. Naruto asked her, which surprised Wendy. She was happy to know that Naruto would help her, but she also knew at this time, it was not possible. Thank you, but I couldn't find her scent anywhere and if she flew away, then she's long gone. Wendy's words confused Naruto greatly. What do you mean her scent? And your mom can fly? Is that because of her magic or something? Naruto looked at her with his confused expression. Well, my mom can use magic, but she has wings, so I don't think she uses magic to fly. Wendy only seemed to confuse Naruto more. Wait a minute. If your mom has wings, does that mean she's not human? Naruto asked the blue-haired girl, who nodded. That's right. My mother Grandine is not a human but a dragon. She called herself the Sky Dragon. Wendy told him with a strange smile, shocking Naruto with her revelation. Say what? Naruto scared Wendy with his sudden outburst, calming down after seeing her scared expression. I'm sorry. I was just surprised to find out your mom is a dragon. I only heard about them in stories, but I never seen one. So, you don't think I'm making it up? When I was at a town 2 days ago, people told me that dragons aren't real. Wendy asked him, hoping he wouldn't make fun of her like other people have. You don't seem like a liar to me. I mean we do live in a world in magic, so maybe there are dragons somewhere in the world. Even if you don't find your mother today, if you find her and get her to meet me, then you prove dragons are real. He gave Wendy some hope. So, you don't think I'm crazy? Wendy asked him hopefully. Nope, but I do think you hit your head somewhere. He told her honestly, making her calmly drop her head. But like I said before, you don't seem like a liar and personally. I think it would be cool if I meet a dragon. Naruto told her with a cheeky smile, followed by a snigger. Wendy felt his infectious attitude and gave a small giggle. I think you are the one who hit his head, but you don't seem like a bad person either. She told him honestly and with some confidence. Suddenly, thunder sounded and scared both children. Soon rain began to fall, and the two were running to find shelter. Hey, look over there. We can go under that tree. Naruto pointed to a large tree, which would shield them from the rain. The tree itself was quite strange that it had large leaves and had a large tree hollow. After taking shelter, Naruto then climbed the tree to rip off some leaves and went back into the tree. Use this one to dry yourself and then use this one as a blanket. Looks like we'll be here for a while. Thank you. Wendy accepted them and began to dry herself with one of the large leaves. Magic Council. Here's in Sir Toby. For your outstanding service this past year, we hereby instate or rather reinstate you as the 6th seat of the Wizard Saints. Please do your utmost to protect Ishiguro from threats and protect the denizens of Fiori to the best of your ability. The chairman of the Magic Council, Crawford Seam, spoke with complete authority. Everyone was dismissed shortly. So, Hiruzen, what do you plan on doing next? You achieved your goal and have proven yourself. Yujima was beside Hiruzen, who wore an attire similar to the one he was mayor of his village, only with a kanji for fire on his hat. That was only my short-term goal, Yujima. By working for the council, I managed to gain some favors that I have reserved for the future, and I at least some of the strength I once had. Hiruzen told him honestly. I see. Any word on Jiraiya's progress? Did he find any information on Naruto? Yujima asked the slightly younger man. Unfortunately, I have not heard from him recently. It would be simpler if we knew the name of whoever took Naruto. If a dark guild or cult finds him, I can only hope he'll alright. Hiruzen showed much concern for the boy he considered a grandson, but then hardened his eyes. I will contact Jiraiya and see if he has learned anything new. Back to Naruto and Wendy. So, your mother taught you something called Dragon Slayer magic. That's awesome. Naruto had imaginative stars surrounding his eyes as he edged closer to Wendy, making her a little uncomfortable. But she noticed immediately and moved back. Sorry, I'm just a little excited hearing about a new type of magic. Naruto then recalled a magic with a similar name. There was a scroll that mentioned something called Water God Slayer magic before I found my magic. I wonder if they're related. It's okay. I'm glad you think my magic is cool. Though unlike my mother, I can barely use one spell to attack. All I can do is help strong people. Wendy was downcast at this, until Naruto cheered her up. So, what if you can't use attack spells? If you can help people with your magic, then that makes you strong in my book. Even if you can't fight now, you can always learn to and get stronger. Naruto told her with a bright smile, cheering up Wendy a little. Do you really think so? Wendy had a hopeful expression. Sure. No one is born strong, so, you can train and become stronger. Naruto was confident in this matter. I mean, I didn't even know I could use magic until 2 years ago, and Gramps sent me here to practice my magic. Your grandfather sent you here? Wait. Did he know that the Wyvern was here? Wendy was in Naruto's face now and surprised him. I don't know. And he isn't my grandfather, I just call him that because I don't like calling him master, and it bugs him. Naruto was a little annoyed that Hades probably knew that there was a wyvern in this forest. I'm gonna prank Gramps so bad that he'll fear me for a year. Why would you call him master? Did he teach you magic? Wendy questioned him and was curious. He's the guild master of my guild. And he basically let me choose what magic I wanted. Actually, it's more like the magic called out to me. Naruto told her honestly. And what is your magic? She showed some interest. Naruto surprised her by channeling darkness into his right hand. Darkness magic. Or dark magic for short, I can use darkness to kick butt. Naruto was proud of himself for learning what Hades told him was a difficult magic. Normally, ordinary people would find Naruto's magic quite frightening and powerful, with even Altair finding his magic terrifying. It's beautiful, Wendy said, shocking Naruto. Instead of fear, Wendy was mesmerized by Naruto's magic, as if she could see the gentleness of his soul. Naruto noticed that his magic was shining differently, its dark blue color being more vibrant. That's strange. My magic is glowing differently. Why? Naruto stopped his magic and put his thoughts aside. I saw you use it again, but wondered what magic it was. I've never seen that type of magic before. Wendy then thought about what Naruto said earlier. Also, you said that you were part of a guild. My mom told me that guilds are filled with people who sell things to other people. Merchants is what they called them. That's a merchant guild from what Gramps told me, mine's a Wizard Guild. You never heard of a Wizard's Guild? Naruto asked her. No, that's first time I've heard of them. Do they also sell things? She asked Naruto. I mean, Wizard Guilds are full of wizards that work jobs for other people and get paid for it. Though Gramps doesn't let me take jobs yet until I learn to control my magic. Naruto replied to her, seemingly unaware of the nature of his guild. I think that's a good thing. Controlling your magic means you can't hurt anyone. She then caught herself. I mean, I'm sure you can control your magic good enough already. Hey, don't sweat it. I mean, it took me a while to just use my magic as I could now. I mean, I'll get stronger and learn to use my magic even in my sleep. He boasted a little but then yawned. Speaking of sleep, looks like why you're tired. Wendy yawned herself and was rubbing her eyes. That looks like you're tired too. Naruto yawned again, and both children soon fell asleep as the rain poured. Next morning. That was a great nap. And it looks like the rain stopped too. Naruto smiled brightly at the sun's rays hitting his face. Wendy yawned and woke up too. Okay, let's get something to eat first and head on to the nearest town or village. Then we can decide what to do. Right? Wendy nodded and smiled at him. Both looked for food, with the two of them finding a river stream. Wendy found some fruit and cleaned them using the stream, with Naruto hunting and cooking fish. Here, try this. Naruto passed Wendy a cooked fish which was on stick. Careful, it's hot. Wendy waited a few seconds, blowing on the fish, and then took one small bite, chewing slowly and then swallowed the portion. This is delicious. Wendy smiled and took another bite, complimenting Naruto in cooking the fish. This is easy. Next time I'll cook you a real meal. Naruto was glad that he could still cook. I haven't made food in a while. Guess I'll cook something when I head back to the guild. Grimoire Heart base. Why have you summoned me, Master Hades? Orochimaru stood in front of the one-eyed man, who looked at him intently with his one eye. Did you honestly believe that I would not keep an eye on you, Orochimaru? I know that you have been experimenting on several members of Grimoire Heart. Hades' words made Orochimaru tread with caution now. The pale-skinned man thought about choosing his next words carefully. Now, let us not do anything we would regret. I understand that I hurt your soldiers, but what are a few measly human lives over the pursuit of knowledge? They were expendable anyways. Orochimaru told him honestly. They may have been, but Naruto is not. I have seen that look in your eyes and how you even took some blood from him. You planned to use him for your experiments, didn't you? Hades hit the nail on the head as Orochimaru did not deny it. Ha 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 ha. Orochimaru smirked at first before starting to laugh until it became full-blown laughter. I knew you would find out eventually. He calmed down and gave a deranged smile. I admit at first that boy did not interest me, but when he manifested his darkness, I felt it. His affinity for darkness magic is unique, and that's putting it mildly. And you think his blood will help you uncover some sort of secret to immortality? Or maybe it has something to do with you trying to adapt to his blood and create a new body for yourself. Now Hades' question surprises Orochimaru, who did indeed want it to reach immortality, whether it was his own body or someone else's. Are you certain that you want to get rid of me? That boy lacks natural talent, and even with the power he possesses, unlike me, he is expendable. Orochimaru told him what he believed to be the honest truth. Ha! Hades let out a small chuckle and looked at Orochimaru. You just said that Naruto was unique, and now you contradict yourself. You're only valuable because despite your insanity, you possess a brilliant mind. Your reputation and skills were just icing on the cake, but unlike any of the other members, I knew that you were only loyal to yourself. That and you fear that Naruto's power will exceed your own. Hunter x Hunter Ost Delusion Maimu. Even if you believe that was remotely true, your brats are still hatchlings. I am the reason why the Magic Council fears Grimoire Heart. Despite how powerful your brats will become in the future, it would be pointless if their lives are sniffed out before they can grow. Orochimaru unleashed his magic and bloodlust. Unbeknownst to them, Altair was hiding and watching their exchange. However, she was not the only one. Another boy, only a few years older than Altair, watched with sweat falling down the side of his face and breathing heavy breaths. This boy is Azuma, another promising youngster who was recruited after Altair. This man. He's a monster. Azuma thought in panic, wanting to get out of there immediately. Is this the power of a former wizard saint? He's not human. Altair breathed heavily and was sweating. Send. Orochimaru. You are scaring the children. Hades simply replied and his own power released, counteracting and even surpassing Orochimaru's own. Altair. Azuma. Please leave. He ordered the two, surprising them, and also managed to help them breath again by counteracting Orochimaru's bloodlust. The children left their hiding places and made their way to their rooms. Master Hades is strong. If Orochimaru is a demon, then Master Hades is a god. Altair thought to herself and was happy not to ever come across Hades' bad side. This is surprising. Orochimaru calmed down with Hades following suit. You countered my bloodlust with and even used your power to calm the children down. You would never have done this a few years ago. Even for mere children, you were absolute in following your goals no matter what the cost. I still am. But as I stated before, those children have potential, they will become much more powerful, and the guild will be in good hands. Hades told him, with Orochimaru smirking. Is this Master Hades of Grimoire Heart or Master Prect of Fairy Tale speaking? Orochimaru did not elicit a reaction from Hades. Said old man turned around and walked away but said one last thing. Watch yourself, Orochimaru. If I even so much as sniff Naruto's blood on you, your dream for immortality will become your nightmare. Do I make myself clear? Hades left before Orochimaru could answer. As much as I want to experiment on that child, he is off limits. I guess it's time to research my next project. Orochimaru disposed of Naruto's blood and then went to the archives. He picked up an old and worn-out book. It had the words, Grimoire of Belial. This book, it's not just a series of spells and curses, but a series of complex equations. Orochimaru was impressed by it, and a devious smirk slowly formed on his face. Yes, I can use this information and become one step closer to my goal. Orochimaru's smirk made him look more like a demon every passing second. Back with Wendy and Naruto, a few hours later. What happened here? Naruto and Wendy looked around the village they arrived at. There were no signs of life anywhere, and it was a complete ghost town. Suddenly, several a loud but familiar roar was heard. That roar, you don't think it's Wendy trailed off. The wyvern? Something in gut tells me that it is. Naruto had darkness channeled into his hands and looked into the air, spotting a massive creature. Is it me or does it look bigger? I don't think it's the same wyvern. Wendy was nervous as the wyvern made its way down and landed in front of them. It looked exactly like the previous one, except it was much larger and older. I think this one might be the other one's mommy or daddy. Naruto questioned and could tell that this one wouldn't be as easy. However, the two children were also shocked to hear another roar and see another wyvern flying over them, landing behind them. Unlike the first one, this one was slightly smaller and had green scales. Crap. I can handle one but not two. What are we going to do? Wendy was afraid, making Naruto stand in front of her protectively, but also look behind them, turning his head around as the wyverns were growling at them. They got us surrounded. And the way I use my magic now won't do me any good. Naruto thought in desperation, but then remembered that he had a powerful spell, but it came with a price. You may only use this spell in the direst of situations, Naruto. At your current level it will harm you, and using it too many times will result in the loss of your arms. Hades warned the blonde boy. His hands were bleeding, and he was panting heavily. I'll only have one shot since my hands will be useless after this. Naruto noticed that underneath the wyvern's wings was enough space for them to sneak through and get behind either of them. Wendy, can you use your magic to make the dirt rise up? When she nodded in confirmation, he told her their plan of action. Do that and choose a wyvern and go underneath one of its wings. I'll follow you and then you need to get back. Naruto looked at her, his eyes asking her to trust him. I understand. Wendy replied as the two looked for an opportunity as both wyverns circled them, ready to jump them. Wendy waved her arms, channeled magic, causing the wind to blow the dirt into the air, causing a smoke screen. Naruto at this point was channeling a strong and potent amount of darkness into his hands. Wendy and Naruto ran towards the green one, spotting it before causing the smoke screen. The wyverns used their wings to blow away the smoke screen, but it was too late. Have a taste of this. Dark. Blitzkrieg. Naruto had joined his arms together, both his open palms shrouded in darkness. After calling out his spell's name, he released a powerful blast which pierced the green wyvern's skull and killed it instantly. The grey one was quick enough to move out of the way. As the green one took most of the attack, the grey one had one of its wings pierced. Unfortunately, Naruto couldn't maintain the spell anymore, and he stopped. His hands were bleeding now and he fell to his knees. Naruto. Wendy was beside him, worried for his well-being. Why your hands? Wendy saw his bloodied hands. Let me help you. Wendy wanted to heal him, but Naruto did not want her to. Why you need to run? Naruto, instead of wanting to fight the wyvern, wanted Wendy to run and get to safety. Wendy did not want to leave him and stood in front of him, trying to protect him. And no, you have to get away. Naruto didn't want her to get killed protecting him, but it fell on deaf ears. As the wyvern was about to strike, it was suddenly hit by lightning. The two children were shocked by this. His voice called out to them. Play Fairy Tail Lost Laxus theme. Not bad, kid. Even a fully grown wizard would have trouble with those wyverns. A young blonde-haired boy, roughly 14 to 15 years of age. His most prominent feature was a lightning bolt-shaped scar over his right eye. Whoa. Who's that guy? Naruto thought to himself as he fell unconscious, with Wendy calling out his name repeatedly. And? Sorry for the long delay, so many things happened, lost my thought process a few times. Next up is bonds. Innocence. Innocence. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and gave a large yawn before grumbling to himself. He lifted his head to see that he was covered by a blanket and had a pillow below him. You're alright. Wendy was beside him and sighed in relief. He noticed a fire and that it was night. I managed to heal those burn marks. But how did you get those when you weren't hit by flames? Isn't it obvious? His magic caused it. A voice called out, with Naruto tilting his head to see that behind Wendy was the same blonde boy with the lightning scar that saved them from the wyvern earlier. You're still learning to control your powers, aren't you, kid? You're the guy who saved us. Thanks for that. Naruto got up and bowed. Dad said to always say thank you to those who help you. Don't worry about it. Just answer the question, kid. You can't control your magic. Isn't that right? He asked again. Yeah. I just to practice a little more, and I'll be able to use more powerful spells. Right now, I can only use normal spells without hurting. Naruto was a little disheartened, but he was also determined. Even his normal spells were powerful for what they were, and in time they would become more powerful as his magic grew, and when he becomes older, but he wanted to able to use more powerful spells in case situations like the ones with Wyvern occurred again. I see, but using your magic like that all the time wouldn't help you. By the time your body learns to handle it, you'll already have lost the use of your arms or any other body part you use for spells. The older boy told Naruto, not holding back anything. You were lucky. That your friend Wendy is here, she managed to heal you using her magic. Naruto then remembered that Wendy said she healed him earlier. I see. Thanks for healing me, Wendy. I guess that's what you mean by support magic. Naruto praised her, much to her embarrassment. By the way, I'm Naruto. Nice to meet you, The name's Laxus. Laxus Dreyer. Got to say, kid, even though your magic hurt you, you have some skill. Laxus complimented Naruto, who just rubbed the back of his head, a little too happy of being praised. But back to what I said earlier, why don't you use a medium to use your very powerful spells? Huh? What do you mean by medium? Naruto was confused by Laxus. Wendy also did not understand what he means by that. A medium as in an object. There's more than one way to use magic. Caster magic is when the magic comes out from our own bodies. To emphasize, Laxus channeled lightning into his left hand. Beholder magic is a type of magic where your magical power is channeled through objects. Laxus took out a knife and then let lightning flow through it. Your darkness is just like my lightning. It can be used through a weapon just like this knife. Laxus threw the knife, which hit a large boulder, breaking it instantly. And that was me holding back. Amazing. Wendy acknowledged Laxus's power with Naruto looking at the knife. Can I do the same thing? Naruto was fixated on what Laxus did with the knife, rather than what he destroyed. Orochimaru's laboratory, 1 day later. Yes. I have almost solved all of these equations. Soon I will gain power beyond this mortal shell. Orochimaru had a sinister gleam in his eye, believing he will gain new power to surpass Hades. His current thoughts suddenly stopped as he felt a presence he felt for a long time. Long time no see, Jiraiya. I'm surprised that you managed to find me here. It has been a while. Good to see that you still have your deranged hobbies. The man named Jiraiya joked. He was tall, his wild spiky white hair was tied into a ponytail. He wore a short green kimono with matching pants. He wore a red waistcoat over it that had a yellow circle on each side. He had a silver horned headband with the kanji for oil engraved on it and wore sandals. He also had a red line underneath each of his eyes. But I'm not here for you, I'm here for Naruto. If Orochimaru was surprised, he did not show it. You're here for ramen topping. You can find them from merchants, you perverted idiot. Orochimaru joked, only to be met with a completely serious Jiraiya, which only made the pale-skinned man's smirk increase. I guess you aren't buying that. If you're talking about a blonde-haired child, then you just missed him a few days ago. He's out on a training mission. You're being awfully cooperative. Any reason why? Jiraiya was holding back his magic power as he could tell that there are many people in the island, with some even possessing extraordinary magical power, thanks to Jiraiya's sensory abilities. I may think you're an idiot, but you were also our old teacher's best spy and informant. And whilst this pains me to say this, my equal in combat. Orochimaru admitted, with Jiraiya somewhat happy to know Orochimaru what he's known for years. Speaking of our old teacher, did you know that he considers Naruto a grandson? Jiraiya smirked as Orochimaru's own smirk dropped. So, it would be in your best interests to give me his location. Especially now that he's back to fighting shape. That is troubling. Sarutobi-sensei was quite powerful, but Orochimaru's mind conjured an image of Hades releasing a dark ore. Master Hades is on another level. Fitting for a man named after the god of death. Unfortunately, I have no idea where Master Hades sent him, but if truly wish to find the boy, then you can ask him. Orochimaru's smirk returned as he pointed behind Jiraiya, who suddenly became tense as he felt a powerful and malignant force behind him. This malevolent feeling. Jiraiya turned around and jumped back, avoiding a small blast. Who is this guy? Jiraiya is now face to face with Master Hades. Orochimaru, what have I told you about bringing guests without telling me? Hades sounded a little amused. I would have prepared refreshments. Forgive my subordinate, Jiraiya the gallant, I'm afraid he isn't the social type. But you should know that better than anyone. My apologies, but Jiraiya dropped in unexpectedly. He's here for Naruto. When Orochimaru mentioned Naruto, Hades simply chuckled. I see. Unfortunately for you, young Naruto is not here. And even if he was, he belongs to Grimoire Heart now. So, you can leave here without Naruto and with your life, or you can stay and lose your life. Hades told Jiraiya, with the latter wondering why Hades was being a little too generous. And you're not worried about me telling the Magic Council about your location. Jiraiya spoke carefully, but his right hand was twitching. He must have a contingency plan if he's letting me go this easily. It will not matter soon enough, and I'd rather avoid killing you, since you are the Magical Council's #1 informant. But make no mistake, I will not hold back if you choose the path of violence. Hades then spotted the book in Orochimaru's hands. That cursed book of Belial again. I will have words with you after this, Orochimaru. Well, since you put it that way, I guess I could go with option A. Instead of option B, but there is another option. Jiraiya's right palm slammed to the ground, creating a black swamp. My hunch was correct. He used his dark swamp spell to launch a predictable but deadly attack. Unfortunately, even if Master Hades is caught in that, he cannot be beaten so easily. It would take both of us at least to even stand a chance, and I don't plan on betraying this monster anytime soon. Though judging by that brief look he gave me when he spotted this book, I feel like my time with Grimoire Heart may be up soon. Orochimaru leaped into the air and then clung to the ceiling. Orochimaru may have shown bravado earlier, but that was when he was certain that Hades would not kill him for any form of insubordination. Phoenix Wing. A voice called out and then a fire blast shaped like a bird came out of nowhere and hit Orochimaru. Orochimaru emerged from the flames unscathed. That spell I see. You've brought some backup with you, but it won't be enough to defeat us. Orochimaru's point was proven as Hades, who allowed himself to get caught by Dark Swamp, used his magic to create a shockwave and undid Jiraiya's spell. Damn. Who is this guy pervy sage? Another man appeared next to Jiraiya and was at least in his early 20s. He had spiky brown hair and wore orange goggles. His attire consisted mainly of a blue jumpsuit. This man is Obito Uchiha, a member of Jiraiya's group. Grimoire Heart's leader. And I told you not to call me that in the middle of a battle. Jiraiya told Obito with some anger, but the older man did not let his guard down, despite seemingly turning his attention away from Hades. Hades motioned his left as if it was a pistol, and shot a magic bullet at Jiraiya. Jiraiya simply tilted his head to the side. So, he was alert after all. And that brat, he just used one of Madara's spells. You seem to have made your choice then. Hades then looked at Orochimaru. Leave Jiraiya to me. You can deal with the brat next to him. Orochimaru jumped back down and rushed to Obito, with the two disappearing from thin air. That was spatial magic, that brat has some talent. Bad move, old man. As soon as I discovered it was Grimoire Heart, I brought a small group with me. Your guild only just made a name for itself recently, and proved yourselves dangerous enough that some insurance was needed. Jiraiya told him with confidence in Obito's abilities as well as his teammates. Grimoire Heart was considered a low threat just 2 years ago, and now they're on the council's radar. I better be on my toes if this guy can order around Orochimaru of all people. I must digress, why is it that you want Naruto? I mean that is your purpose for being here, is it not? And why bring a small group with you for that purpose? Hades knew the reason why he brought a group, but just wanted confirmation. He also knew why Jiraiya wanted Naruto, as Orochimaru told him some of Minato's history. You don't need to know about why I want Naruto, just know that he is important to me. And I originally came alone, but I'm no fool. I can sense extraordinary magic here, especially yours and Orochimaru's. But that's enough talk. It's time for some action. Jiraiya rushed. Hades, his arm now covered by rocks. Earth magic again. Don't disappoint me, Jiraiya. Hades had a maddened look on his face now as his own empowered fists collided with Jiraiya's. Because of this clash, they created a shockwave, which caused the equipment to be destroyed and the laboratory to be damaged. With Obito and Orochimaru, One Piece stampede Ostriki's entrance. You're going down, Orochimaru. Obito made circle with his left hand and launched a powerful stream of flames at Orochimaru. You've improved, Obito. And you also learned spatial magic, just like your former teacher. Who taught you? Orochimaru remained calm and was in fact smirking. As if I'd tell you that. Obito then smirked. But I can tell you this, pervy sage and I weren't the only ones who came here. Orochimaru wasn't fazed by this and expected as much. He did not expect to though. You shouldn't underestimate Obito, Orochimaru. A woman with short brown hair and purple markings around her face appeared summoned by Obito's spatial magic. She then released purple mist from her mouth, and it hit Orochimaru directly. Nice shot, Rin. Obito gave Rin a thumbs up, only to realize that Orochimaru was not affected, and he teleported to Rin's side, grabbing her, and avoided a dark purple snake construct. Please don't insult me. Have you forgotten that I have an affinity for poisons? I have a resistance to your pathetic magic. Orochimaru then stepped out of the way from the katana which had lightning channeled through it. That was close. Out of the three of you, you're the one who has the slightest chance to defeat me, Kakashi. The young man around the age of Obito and Rin held the lightning-enhanced katana. He had silver gravity-defying hair and wore an attire with plated armor. His left was closed and had a scar over it. That means a lot coming from you, Orochimaru. Kakashi was side by side with his companions. Rin, Obito. We need to work together to defeat him, so don't engage him one-on-one unless I give the signal. Understood. Rin nodded in confirmation. Yeah, I got it. Obito grumbled out as the three prepared for their toughest battle yet. What's the plan, closet perv? Obito whispered to Kakashi, who looked annoyed. I only read Lord Jiraiya's book because he would not stop bothering me. Well, I did actually like it, but these two don't need to know that. Kakashi then sighed. Rin, Orochimaru is resistant to your poison, but that does not mean he is immune, so your poison magic can affect him if you find the right mixture, but we don't have the luxury. Use strength magic. Obito, use spatial magic is the key for us to take him out. We'll use your teleportation to launch our attacks, but you must avoid his attacks. If something goes wrong, you're the only one who can get us out of here. Understood. Both Rin and Obito nodded. All three kept their guards up in case Orochimaru attacked, though strangely he did not. He could have attacked us at any time. He's waiting for us to make the first move, and he's also not taking us seriously. Rin was cautious but also felt slighted. These thoughts were shared by her teammates. Back with Laxus's group, stand. Stop trying to force yourself. You need to be patient, and when you manage to get the hang of it, then you can go wild all you want. Right now you need to focus on pouring magic into a stick and use it as a weapon. Laxus told Naruto, who was breathing heavily and in his hand was black dust, caused by pouring too much magic. He doesn't realize that the stick is more fragile than his own body, but if he can learn to control his magic through an object, he'll be able to use his more powerful spell without injuring himself within time. You can do it, Naruto. Wendy cheered him on as the blonde was given another stick. The reason Naruto was given a stick was because Laxus did not want him to destroy his knife until he was certain that the smaller blonde could channel his magic with ease. Okay, using magic through an object is trickier than I thought. But I can't give up now. If I learn this, it can help get stronger, and I can use my magic without hurting myself. Naruto then recalled his first time using his darkness magic. That's right. If I keep working hard, I'll get the hang of it. But, using a stick bites. I mean, I can break it with my bare hands. That's it. He must have got it. Let's see if he put it into practice. Laxus then saw Naruto turn to him, and then Laxus passed him another stick. Naruto then stood in front of a tree and breathed in deeply, holding the stick with both hands. Now, the stick in Naruto's hand was now covered by darkness. Naruto then looked at the boulder in front of him and swung the stick, cutting the boulder in half. Yes. Did you see that? And look, the stick is only slightly charred. Naruto exclaimed. Congrats, kid. If you keep practicing, you'll be able to use stronger attack with this, and maybe you'll be able to use your hands for that spell without hurting yourself. Laxus was referring to Naruto's Dark Blitzkrieg. It's called Dark Blitzkrieg. It's my strongest spell for now, and it takes a lot of magic. But my body isn't used to it. That's why you had my practice with sticks. You wanted me to learn a way of fighting without injuring myself, until my body is used to stronger spells. But I won't stop there. Naruto told him determination. Is that right? Laxus smirked when Naruto pointed the stick at him and looked at him with a smirk of his own. Yeah. I'll learn how to use a sword and create all sorts of awesome attacks, and then I'll master Dark Blitzkrieg. Watch out, Laxus, I'll be stronger than you in no time. Naruto's smirk changed to a look of determination. He's challenging Laxus. Wendy looked at Naruto with concern on her face, remembering how Naruto still wanted to protect her from Wyvern despite being injured, and now he's challenging Laxus, someone who easily took down that same Wyvern. Ha! Then I'll just become stronger and leave you in the dust. Laxus laughed, not maliciously, but a genuine and joyful laugh. Unbeknownst to Laxus, he started to form a bond with Naruto that would impact him years later. Back at Grimoire Heart's headquarters. This guy is demon. Jiraiya was covered in bruises and his attire was damaged, with some blood coming out of his mouth. Meanwhile, Hades has a few scratches, and his cape was ruined, but he stood across Jiraiya, staring at him calmly. Hades no longer had his helmet on, and Jiraiya was out of breath. I commend you for forcing me to fight seriously. You are truly a wizard worthy of praise and belong in the same class as Orochimaru. However, Hades' magic flowed and frightened Jiraiya. You have not yet reached my level. I won't give up here. I can't. Jiraiya finally caught his breath and got his second wind. I have to get to Obito and the others. I may have guts, but retreating is the best option. He said that Naruto wasn't on this island, and I don't think he's lying. So, us being here is pointless apart from locating Grimoire Heart, but he said earlier that I could leave. Does this mean they're relocating? Doesn't matter, if what he says is true, Naruto is somewhere outside in the world, and I can find him. I don't suppose your offer of leaving with my life is still on the table. He joked, causing Hades to chuckle briefly. I'm sorry, but that offer has expired, and so will you. Hades smirked, causing Jiraiya's false bravado to crumble. Guess I'll have to fight my way out. If I can get to Obito, we can teleport out of here. Jiraiya took a stance again as magic danced around his body again. I can't afford to lose here, so I'll have to surpass my limits. And, sorry for the delay, but I got stuck a few times, and wanted to make sure this chapter was consistent. Also, previous chapter, I wrote Laxus as being 14 to 15, I think I made a little mistake. He should be 15 to 16 right now, since he was born in Act 761, and it is currently Act 777, sorry about that. Naruto's more powerful spells are too much for his young body to handle, so I thought I would have him learn how to channel his destructive magic into weapons without hurting himself for the time being. He will eventually control better and use more powerful spells later. As you can see that I am deviating from canon already, and if you're wondering if Naruto will join Fairy Tail early on, just watch and read. Please review and no flames, just be constructive. Also, in this world, there are no Jinchurikis and definitely no Otsutsuki. I don't like the Otsutsuki clan, and a lot of the new characters introduced in Boruto, well except a few. Rin is still alive, so, Obito has not lost faith in the world. Spiral of Destruction. Spiral of Destruction. My Hero Academia the movie. World Heroes Mission Us fight against the strong. Heavenly Kick of Pain. Rin was above Orochimaru and lifted her right leg up high, bringing it down fast, smashed Orochimaru into a crater, only for Orochimaru move out of the way. Obito. She called out as a portal appeared in front of Orochimaru and lightning shot out of it, hitting Orochimaru and blasting him backwards. But Orochimaru landed on his feet, clapping his hands together before slamming them on the ground. The ground cracked, with the crack stretching towards Rin and Obito. Several purple snake constructs emerged and attacked them. Hang on. Obito grabbed Rin by the waist, and she latched onto him as Obito teleported them away using a portal to escape the snakes. With thunder, Kakashi used his katana to launch several bolts of lightning to counter the snakes. Orochimaru's Venom Radiance magic makes him fearsome foe even for the three of us. It's essentially a maker magic which manipulates light and is also poisonous. Only Orochimaru could twist the holy magic into something like this. We have to put him down and fast. That Orochimaru is a tough bastard. Expected nothing less from a guy who's considered pervy sage's equal. Obito was still holding Rin and discussed possible strategies. He may be tough but he's not invincible. We managed to get some good hits in earlier, but we're still on the defensive, and we're also taking damage. Rin was right, they all took more damage, the pale-skinned man. If only I could use offensive spells with my spatial magic, just like Sensei, but all I have is my fire magic for now. Guess that means we must finish this with Kakashi's lightning. Oh man. I wanted to show Rin how much stronger I became. Obito had feelings for Rin, which is why he protected so fiercely earlier. He did not know that Rin felt the same way, but did not have the courage to tell him. Rin, as much as it pains me to say this, Kakashi's lightning is the key to defeating Orochimaru. Obito admitted as he manifested a portal beneath Kakashi to help him escape Orochimaru's attack. Kakashi was now beside the two, with Obito teleporting them to somewhere Orochimaru wouldn't spot them, for now. Unintentionally, it was in the bathroom. Thanks Obito. Kakashi thanked his teammate and then breathed in deeply. Orochimaru is holding back. We can use that to our advantage. By breaking through his defense and landing a powerful blow, we can end him. Send. Kakashi, can you use that spell of yours? Chilchichi, that lightning thing you do with your hands. Obito forgot the name of one of Kakashi's signature spell. It's called Chidori, it means 1,000 birds. How can you forget an attack like that? And yes, though now I used a more powerful version called Lightning Blade. Kakashi added in an afterthought. Forget about the name. Just huddle up, I have a plan. They all huddled as Obito whispered the plan to them. He managed to tell them the plan, but the wall behind them was destroyed as one of Orochimaru's snake construct broke through it. You should have teleported out of here or at least work on your stealth. Orochimaru was amused at their efforts. Orochimaru's snake had smacked all three of them through with Kakashi. Now skidding back to the lab and Rin and Obito seemingly hitting another wall, being crushed by large debris. Rin? Obito. You bastard. Kakashi stood back up and held his broken sword. Calm down Kakashi. If they were killed by that then they would not be worthy of being students of the Yellow Flash. Out of all his students, you're his best, that's why you're the one still standing. Orochimaru was more relaxed than before. If you surrender now, I'll end it quickly. Surrender? Sorry, but that is not an option. Kakashi then asked him the question. However, I am curious, why are you working for a guild? Lord Jiraiya mentioned you wanting immortality, don't tell me that's what this dark guild is after. All Kakashi got was a small chuckle from Orochimaru. Immortality is required for my ambition. With it, I can gain all the knowledge this world has to offer and perhaps in other worlds. Orochimaru was confident that Kakashi could not beat him, so he revealed his true goal. Other worlds? You mean like Idola's? Kakashi was conserving his strength and knew that despite Orochimaru's calm demeanor, he was still on guard. I see that your old teacher told you about the existence of other worlds and dimensions. Idola's is one such world, but there are so many other worlds. I'm afraid it would be impossible for me to reach my goals in a single lifetime. Orochimaru admitted. But I think I've told you enough. It's time to end this. That we can agree on. Kakashi threw away the broken sword, gripped his right arm's wrist with his left arm, bending his knees slightly. Orochimaru knew that he was charging up a spell, so he sent a snake construct, but a burst of flames hit it. My Hero Academia Osco, plus Ultra. So, Obito is still conscious. Orochimaru then surrounded himself with his magic, but it burst out and formed into a three-headed serpent creature with quadrupedal body. The serpents were fiercer looking than his previous snakes. Venom Radiance. Hydra. At this point, Kakashi's spell was visible. Dense lightning surrounded him and was also channeled through his right hand. That spell of his. Such raw power emanating from it. Orochimaru launched his Hydra's heads, only for several portals to appear and shoot out flames, stalling the Hydra for a second. That wouldn't work. Orochimaru's Hydras were nearing Kakashi. Not today. Rin came out of a portal, and she pulled back her right arm, her veins glowing white. She was above the body of Orochimaru's Hydra. Magnolia's smash. Rin called out and landed a devastating blow, the Hydra's body cracking before it shattered. But the Hydra had shattered before they managed to hit Kakashi. Fool. I'll just keep my distance before you can hit me. Orochimaru backstepped, only for 6 portals to surround him. What? Kakashi. Finish this. Obito called out, as Kakashi came out of a portal at Orochimaru's side. Orochimaru was slashed, blood gushing out of him, with Kakashi repeating this move from each portal multiple times, moving too fast for Orochimaru to counter. This is Minato's technique. To the average person, Kakashi appeared to look like Flash, moving so fast using his technique. Finally, Kakashi was in front of Orochimaru. It's over. Kakashi pierced through Orochimaru's heart, landing a fatal blow. Yes. Obito and Rin cheered at their victory. Boss end. Orochimaru stood on his feet, with Kakashi's arms still going through his body. Orochimaru spat out blood and all he could see was Kakashi's cold stare. Obito, Rin. We did it. Kakashi simply exclaimed as he harshly removed his arm from Orochimaru's body. Orochimaru's body fell with a loud thud. Obito and Rin ran towards Kakashi as the three celebrating, with Obito hugging Kakashi for a second, until he realized who he was hugging, before dropping the hug entirely and turning away. Ha ha ha. Orochimaru laughed and coughed out. See, congratulations on this victory. The three were ready to attack him if he continued. Why you destroyed this body, but I will return. I am inevitable. Orochimaru said his final words and his body finally gave out. Rin carefully knelt and checked his pulse. He has no pulse. He's dead. Even though Rin just confirmed Orochimaru's death, all three felt uneasy at what Orochimaru just said. Obito fell on his bottom and gave a sigh of relief. Give me a few minutes and we'll head to Pervy Sage's location, and then get the hell out of here. Congress on taking down Orochimaru Kakashi. Obito was not jealous of Kakashi and gave him a genuine smile. Come on, without your magic we would already been dead. You used it to save our necks so many times, and it helped us beat Orochimaru. Rin commented. Well, I think we all should pat ourselves in the back. It was our teamwork that took him down. Kakashi then looked at Orochimaru's body. He may have been a monster, but he was at one point Lord Jiraiya's oldest friend. I'm certain that despite all the atrocious acts he committed, Jiraiya will miss him. We had no choice but to kill Orochimaru. At our current strength we could not capture him. Killing him was the only way. Rin disliked taking a life, no matter who it was, but she was not alone as her teammates shared these thoughts. However, in their line of work, they knew that they had to do things which involved dirtying their hands. Sensei. I will train until I master this magic. The magic I inherited from you. Obito knew that he could become stronger, strong enough that even someone of Orochimaru's would not be a threat to him in the future. Did you two notice that they did not send for reinforcements? Kakashi questioned his teammates, which made Obito recall Hades' earlier words. That strong old man gave us a chance to leave, even though he knew that we would inform the council of their location. If you let us go, you know what that means. Obito looked at the other two. That means this island will no longer be their base of operations. Rin then realized that if they left the island now, they would be back to square one, and it may take years before they could find information on Naruto's whereabouts again. Even if we are stronger than the rest of the Grimoire Heart members, we don't have much left in us. And Obito, despite how far away we are, I can sense Lord Jiraiya facing that monster, and his presence is fading. We were too overconfident this time. Escape is our only option. Kakashi told them, though he wanted to find Naruto and bring him back the most out of all of them except for Jiraiya. This Obito and Rin could tell. Then let's get out of here. I have enough to get us and Pervy Sage out of here. Obito was truly at his limit, only having a few more spells on him before he tires out completely. If push comes to shove, I'll help out Lord Jiraiya long enough for you to teleport us out of here, Obito. Obito nodded at Kakashi's words, as the three were ready to aid Jiraiya. But not before noticing a strange book and picking it up. The Book of the Demon King Belial. Why would Orochimaru have something like this? Back with Jiraiya and Hades. Chow. Jiraiya was bloodied and his upper clothing gone. Hades' clothing was also damaged, but his injuries were less severe. Moments earlier. Play Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie. Tanjiro and Inosuke theme. Jiraiya jumped out of the way from one of Hades' magic bullets from his fingertips, and when Jiraiya's foot touched the ground, two pillars shaped like fists hit Hades, only for Hades to instantly shatter them upon impact. Jiraiya then slammed his hands together as the shattered pieces glowed and exploded. Heavy Knuckle did not faze him, then again, considering how much power this guy has, not surprising. And I doubt exploding rocks will stop him. Jiraiya was right as a chain with a blade shot out and pierced his left shoulder, eliciting a small hiss of pain. Damn. Jiraiya felt a burning sensation from the chain. He's going to pull me in. My only chance is to use it. Jiraiya's right hand was covered in rock, which began to crack and fade as energy began to form in the shape of sphere. Get over here. Hades pulled Jiraiya towards him and was about to grab him when he edged closer. What is that? Hades felt the power that Jiraiya's spell was giving off, and could not stop Jiraiya from coming closer. My student's original creation, but my own spin. Take this. Rasengan. Jiraiya slammed the sphere on Hades' torso, as air around them started rippling, the attack taking effect against Hades. I underestimated him. Hades was sent flying back until he hit a wall. However, despite being wounded by the attack, Hades emerged from the wall. Interesting. Show me what you got, brat. Hades dropped any pleasant formalities, and was ready to show Jiraiya his place. He withstood Minato's technique. Jiraiya clapped his hands together and then slammed them to the ground, casing the ground to break, and then created several large fist-shaped boulders, sending a barrage of them at Hades. However, Hades released a shockwave and stopped the first barrage, and then shot a magic bullet at one. The Hades made another chain and used it as a whip to cut the projectiles in half. Jiraiya's hands were still on the ground, but this time he caused beams to shoot out from the ground in line formation, hitting Hades dead on. Boss end. If this is the best you have, then you cannot win. Hades was fazed by the attack, but not as much as Jiraiya thought. That spell, Rasengan, packed a punch. Of course, it helps that someone of your caliber made it much stronger. But covering your hand with earth, you built up energy by burning up that same earth to create a sphere of pure energy which rotates in multiple directions. You can input the amount of power afterwards, and then by combining the first two steps, you can contain it to give it shape, and thus a powerful spell is formed. You managed to figure out that much by just seeing it once. Color me impressed. Shit. A magical genius, can't catch a break. Jiraiya was then shocked at what happened next. Let's see. First the rotation. Hades channeled dark magic into his hand. First he made several spinning rings in his hand and then added some power as the wind danced wildly around him. Then we add power and finally, we contain it. Hades had now made a darker looking version of the Rasengan. The air Rasengan formed by darkness. Jiraiya was so shocked that he said his thoughts out loud. Yes. I know many types of magic, but now I also possess one of the spells which made the yellow flash famous. But I am curious, so please indulge me. Why do you want Naruto? Is it because he is the son of your former pupil? Hades could have ended Jiraiya now, but he wanted some answers before that, and then dispersed his Rasengan. Yes, there's no harm in telling you now. Naruto is my godson, and since Minato is no more, it is my responsibility to look after him. I know about the power he possesses, and I could care less about that. I am his godfather, and his safety is everything to me. Jiraiya allowed his emotions to get the better of him. I see. Well, unfortunately for you, Naruto will not leave until he finds the person responsible for his father's murder. And I told you before, Naruto is not here. I sent him out to harness his magic. Hades then smirked. But now because of you, I have learned his father's spell, and what better spell to give him as a present. What a kind godfather you are. Jiraiya lost his temper and charged him, only for Hades to slam his open palm and unleash a blast of dark energy through his abdomen before grabbing his neck. Back to the present. I gave you a chance to leave, such a shame that I must take the life of an extraordinary wizard like you. You would have been such an asset in the ultimate magic world. Farewell, Jiraiya the Gallant. Hades was about to pierce through Jiraiya's skull, but a small portal appeared, taking Hades' arm. Another portal opened at Hades' left side, but Hades stopped his attack and pulled his arm back. That brat has returned. Orochimaru must have played too much with him, and he's not alone. Hades then dropped Jiraiya and moved out of the way from Kakashi and Rin's surprise attack. Took you through long enough. Jiraiya coughed out. We must retreat. You can tell me how you guys beat Orochimaru later. Rin and Kakashi stood by Jiraiya's side. You won't get a chance to retreat. Hades made hand motions. A special magic circle appeared in front of him, something Jiraiya recognized. A Amaterasu formula. Jiraiya and the other two knew about this magic. Obito. Get us out of here before the spell takes effect. Obito was not fast enough, so Jiraiya pushed the other two away, and took the full force of the Amaterasu formula, but before that, he managed to create 3 pillars to defend himself. Formula 28. And you managed to defend yourself from it, well, from most it anyway. Hades commented and saw that Jiraiya still stood, his body smoking from the attack and his injury severe. Jiraiya then fell with a thud. Damn it. Kakashi. Rin. Let's go. Obito was now by Jiraiya's body with other two now by his side. Hang on. I'll get us out of here. Obito summoned a portal beneath them, and they all teleported away. That brat appeared to have used up most of his magic. Well, considering who those 3 fought against, I'm not surprised. Hades then looked at the injury Jiraiya's Rasengan caused him. Luckily I was the stronger one between the two of us, and used my magic to minimize the damage. Hades then made his way towards Orochimaru's corpse. His foolishness cost him this time. Next time I will not be so lenient. Hades knew a secret about Orochimaru, something that no one else does, not even the people that were once closest to Orochimaru. And sorry for the delay, hope you enjoyed this chapter. Now, I imagine some of my readers being annoyed about my selection for the magic for Orochimaru and Jiraiya, but I thought that I'd do something different for them, instead of converting their canon abilities into magic. Now, will I include some of their canon abilities later, maybe or maybe not. And if you are also wondering if Orochimaru is still alive, just carry on reading. Now, if readers have noticed, I mentioned that Minato is a student of Jiraiya, and that probably makes you wonder how he was killed. Well, just wait and see. I have plans for certain characters and groups. Also, the Rasengan being earth-based is only for Jiraiya's version, and depending on which magic type is used, it will be different. Also, if you're wondering how earth magic can be used in energy form, I got from the fairy tale anime, where Jiraiya used a beam for the MPF event. Hope you had a nice Christmas and have a happy new year. Dark power. Dark power. This is getting tedious, Orochimaru. Please stop withholding information. Hades was now in a secret lab, where he stood in front of a large container filled with liquid. Inside was Orochimaru with tubes connected to his body. However, you managed to clone your own body and made it, so your memory is transferred after your previous body's death. You essentially found a way to cheat death. And you thought that you could hide this from me. Hades' hand channeled dark energy as he touched the large container and began to corrupt it. Call this a little insurance in case you decide to betray me. The liquid in the container became darker as Orochimaru's body began to twitch and his eyes opened, but they were rolled over. Hades let go of the container as it returned to its normal state, with Orochimaru's body stopping its movements. Now, to get Naruto back. Hades left and took out a small crystal ball. Good thing I put a tracker on him. I swear that brat could get lost in a straight line sometimes. He then looked at Orochimaru. Again. He will wake up soon, and then the ship will be ready to take off. There is no doubt in my mind that those intruders will return with more forces. Hades then made some modifications so that they could put Orochimaru inside their new ship. The island which Grimoire Heart's headquarters was located began to shake as slowly a large airship came out of the ground. This airship was almost the size of the island itself, being able to carry everyone in Grimoire Heart inside it. It may be best to contact him through telepathy when I'm near his location. Hades mused to himself as he thought of Naruto's progress. I wonder if he learned any new tricks. Hades did not know how right he was. Back with Naruto, Wendy and Laxus, sometime later. That's it. You're doing it, kid. Laxus went with a different approach as Naruto began to blast him with darkness. The exercise from earlier helped Naruto greatly that his normal attacks are more powerful and refined, meaning his body has adapted to them, and he no longer hurts himself from them. Laxus was dodging the blasts with ease. If he sees me going easy on him, he'll get more fired up. I can use this against you now. Dark. When Naruto made a familiar gesture, Laxus though stood by and waited for Naruto to use the spell again. Blitzkrieg. Naruto released a dark blast. Okay, I think I bit off more than I can chew. Laxus channeled lightning into his right arms and then used it to deflect the attack, making it hit the boulder to their side, and completely destroying it, and causing a small crater. How are the hands, kid? Laxus saw that Naruto's hands were steaming up, but no blood or permanent injury. They still hurt but not as much. Woo. Come on. Let's go. Naruto rushed Laxus and launched several punches and kicks at the older blonde, only for Laxus to easily block them, and then chop the back of the younger blonde's neck. Let's take a break. Laxus told the knocked out Naruto, despite the blonde not able to hear him. Wendy ran up and was worried for the young blonde, after witnessing him push himself, but she also began to admire him, and wanted to be strong like him. An hour later. This is good soup, kid. Laxus managed to get ingredients for a tasty soup, which Naruto made, and to both Laxus and Wendy, they thought it was delicious. Glad you like it. There's plenty, so eat up. Naruto smiled and put some more soup in for himself, but then heard a familiar voice. Naruto, can you hear me, boy? Hades' voice rang through Naruto's head. Gramps. Naruto looked around, confusing Wendy and Laxus. Naruto. Wendy looked at him worriedly. Something's up with the kid, but what? He said Gramps. Is he thinking about his granted? Laxus stared at Naruto, who looked confused himself. Don't talk. I'm contacting you with telepathy, a form of magic which allows me to speak to you without you even saying a word. Just think your words and I'll instruct you to where you need to go. Hades communicated with the young boy. Just think my words. How do I do that? Wait. Am I doing it now? If I am, this is so cool. Naruto would have made more comments, but Hades had no patience for him now. Enough. Just stop thinking and head to the forest, I'll pick you up. Say goodbye to your friends and tell them you need to go. Don't tell them that I'm talking to you now, just go. Your training exercise is over. Am I understood? Hades waited for a reply, only for 30 seconds to pass. Why aren't you answering? You said not to think, Gramps. This soup is so good. Naruto just carried on eating his soup. Hades facepalmed on his end. Okay, just finish your soup and tell your friends that you need to head back to the guild now. Hades had to sigh in exasperation at Naruto's stupidity sometimes. Okay, Gramps. Naruto happily began to finish the rest of his soup off. Hey kid, are you okay? You mentioned your Gramps just now. Laxus looked at him with concern. Oh, I told Wendy this earlier, but Gramps is what I call my guild master. He's quite old. Naruto did not know it, but Hades still had his telepathy on and heard the old comment. Hades' location. I may end up killing him at this rate. Hades angrily whispered to himself, making sure Naruto did not hear him. Back with Naruto. Haha. Just like me, but my Gramps is actually related to me. He's the guild master of the guild I belong to. Laxus told them, though his face turned sour for a brief moment after mentioning how his grandfather. But why did you suddenly mention him? Laxus looked a little too menacing to him, scaring the younger blonde a little. Well, I just remembered that I've been out for too long. I'm supposed to meet him nearby and head back to the guild. Naruto tried covering up that Hades had instructed him via telepathy. I see. What about you, Wendy? Laxus looked at her, putting her on the spot. Truth be told, Wendy did not Naruto to go and wanted to stay with him, for he is her first friend. I don't know. I have nowhere to go. Wendy replied to Laxus before turning her attention to Naruto. You're my first friend and I know that you have your guild, but I really don't want to say goodbye. Wendy sniffled a little bit. Laxus expected Naruto to tell her to be strong, but Naruto cried as well. And I don't want to say goodbye too. But Gramps said I can't bring back anyone with me until I'm older. Naruto revealed, though the real reason was that Hades knew Naruto was too naive, and he may recruit people who would be useless to their cause and possibly hold Naruto back. Why don't you join my guild? I'm sure my Gramps won't mind or anyone else. Laxus offered, surprising the two. They both had expressions of awe and then smiled. Really? You don't mind? Wendy asked nervously but was answered by Laxus placing his hand on top of her head. Nah. Even if you're weak, I've taken a liking to you and the blonde idiot. So, having you in the guild won't be bad. Laxus smiled at her, making her happy to hear that. However, she looked at Naruto who smiled at her. But what about Naruto? I don't want to say goodbye to him. Do you have to go, Naruto? She asked the blonde, whose expression went down. I'm sorry, I wish I could stay and hang out more, but I have to go. I'm sorry, but I need to get stronger and find the guy who killed my dad. Naruto wanted to live his life, but his need to find his father's killer still weighed on his mind. But it doesn't mean it has to be goodbye for good. We'll see each other again someday. Isn't that right, Laxus? Naruto looked at the older blonde as if he was his older brother. Damn, when did I turn into a mushy sap? He's right. Even though I think he may be better off in my guild and well I don't like the stuff my Gramps says, he's got to do what he's got to do. You don't need to understand it, but you'll meet again one day. In fact, send him off with this. Laxus did something that he hasn't done in years. He put his right arm up in the air, the back of his hand showing and his index finger and thumb extended. What's that? Naruto asked him, only to reply by a small chuckle and smile. A message. It means even if you are far apart, you'll always look at each other's way. No matter where you are. This made the two children respect Laxus even more. After this, Naruto packed up his stuff and left, but he also raised his arm and did the same gesture as Laxus. Laxus and Wendy also repeated this gesture. Don't worry Wendy, you'll see him again someday. The next time we meet, I have no doubt he'll be much stronger. Maybe almost as strong as me. Laxus was a little arrogant, but he wanted to see Naruto again in hopes he'll grow strong enough to challenge him. That strong kid, I know you can do it. Laxus smiled, not realizing that he returning to the kind-hearted person he was in the past. With Hades. You took your time, brat. Hades was still annoyed at being called old. Naruto noticed his grumpy attitude. What's gotten into you Gramps? Oh and yo. Naruto greeted, though Hades was impressed as he noticed Naruto's power increase. He's gotten stronger it seems. I'll test him out when he gets on the ship. It's good that you're alive, because I want to see what you've learned from your time away. That and it's time to show you our new headquarters. Hades told him with a smirk. Headquarters. Naruto was confused, but before he could inquire more, the winds started to dance around them wildly. What is that? Naruto saw Grimoire Heart's new airship in astonishment. From now on we'll be living and traveling in that. I hope that you do not have motion sickness. Hades then realized that he was ignored as Naruto kept looking at the new airship in excitement. This is so cool. Naruto wanted to go in straight away, with Hades simply laughing in amusement, being genuine with his reaction after a long time. The ship landed and opened its hatch as the two entered the ship. Is this the hull? This looks like our old place. Naruto was a little disappointed until Hades showed him the different rooms and the new features, such as the cannons and his new bedroom. Cool. Shower up and get some rest. Because tomorrow I want to see your progress. Now, please excuse me. Hades left Naruto to his own devices and headed towards the laboratory. Looks like you came back in one piece. Naruto jumped up when a female voice surprised him. He turned around to see us smiling. Ultier. Oh, it's you Ultier. You scared me. But yeah, I came back and I'm stronger than ever. Naruto winked and held his right arm with his left hand, making the older girl giggle. I can sense his powers increase. I can see that, but did you learn any new tricks? She teased him, but Naruto then had a mischievous glint in his eyes. Oh. He has that look in his eyes. I'll show you in the training room tomorrow. Gramps wants me to show what I learned. Naruto snickered. Well, then you better not disappoint. He's still the same as ever, but he feels a bit off. It's like he feels at ease, at least more than he was before. Altia liked to change. Despite her own dark thoughts, Naruto was a ray of sunshine to her usually bleak world. With Hades. You managed to find my body and I can tell that you've done something to me. And please don't try to hide anything. I felt you pour your own power into me earlier and this body feels off. Orochimaru was awake and fully clothed. And here I thought that I could keep it a secret from you. But I would not worry about it, Orochimaru. If you carry on with your duties and work aboard this airship and fulfill your obligations to Grimoire Heart, there is nothing to worry about. What I did to your body was just insurance. Do you understand? Hades asked of him, though it was more of a threat. Perfectly, master. Orochimaru had to hold back his much viler thoughts and left. I spent years to perfect this body, and now that old fart is in control. Orochimaru then calmed and thought of another plan. I'll have to make a new body, but it won't be easy now that he'll be watching me more carefully. If only I hadn't lost the Book of Belial. Grimoire Heart's old base. We're too late. Hiruzen Sarutobi was back in action, but unfortunately, Grimoire Heart escaped. He was joined by Kakashi, Obito and Rin. Jiraiya was still out action, and whilst the trio themselves were not in the best of shapes, they felt like they had to return and bring down Grimoire Heart. There's nothing you could have done. There was a low possibility that they would still be here. A blonde-haired woman with large breasts appeared. This is Tsunade Senju, one of Hiruzen's former students and a wizard on the same caliber as Jiraiya and Orochimaru. She is also a member of the Wizard Saints, just like Hiruzen and Jiraiya. She's right. Another person appeared, a man who made the other two Wizard Saints paled in comparison to him. Natsu Warod. Please forgive me for my frustration, but Naruto was like a grandson to me and I am worried for him. Hiruzen bowed in front of the much older man, who looked more like a tree. But this man, Warod Sequin, is currently the third strongest wizard in all of Ishtar. No, it is quite alright. We were too late to react this time. All we can hope is to find another Lee, and that young Naruto will not succumb to Grimoire Heart's manipulations. Warod usually liked to make jokes, but the situation did not call for it. This old man you mention, he must be very powerful for you all to ask for my assistance. He was unlike any opponent we ever face. Lord Jiraiya struggled against him, and his magic power was comparable to your own Lord Warod. Kakashi replied with some concern in his voice. I see. Then you made the right choice in asking for my help. Warod looked into the night sky as it began to rain. I'll find you Naruto and bring you home. Please do not allow them to corrupt you into their beliefs. Hiruzen sighed and the group headed back to their homes. Back with Laxus. Rest up, kid. Laxus placed a blanket over Wendy as they camped out in a cave. Wendy was sleeping peacefully and warmed up by the blanket and fire next to her. Naruto. Just before he left, he looked confused. It's like he wanted to stay, but something stopped him, not his guilt, but it was like he needed to do something. If he's okay, I guess I can't complain. Laxus then thought about the tensions between his father and grandfather. I hope Gramps doesn't do anything he regrets, and I hope Dad doesn't do anything stupid. Laxus knew that his father was far from being the most kind, but he still wanted to believe in his father. The next day, Grimoire Heart airship. Alright Naruto. I want to put your training to the test, so that's why I have a simulated opponent for you. Hades told Naruto as he stood to the side. Okay. I don't know what simulated means, but I'm up for a challenge. Naruto then heard Hades laugh as he summoned his opponent. A giant machine with various bladed weapons, including a chainsaw. Me and my big mouth. I hope you're ready Naruto. I believe in your abilities. And do not worry, I'll make sure you won't die just yet. Hades had an amused look which made Naruto look at him incredulously for a moment, but turned back and put his fists up. If I can't handle something like this now, then I can't face my dad's killer. Naruto rushed the machine and was ready for a fight. And sorry for the long delay in this story. I prioritize bonds over this lately, and I always seem busy or get called into errands, and then lose my focus. Currently, Ivan has not been kicked out yet, and Laxus has taken some personality traits from his father, but luckily not by much. I twisted some parts, and Wendy will soon join Fairy Tail, instead of meeting Mystigan and then Kate's shelter. For those who thought Orochimaru was done for, all I can say not yet. He managed to make his own version of Tartaros. A generation system, well in a way he has. He must prepare a body beforehand and in the event of his death, a machine powered by magic activates and transfers his memory from the time of his death to a new body. Of course, as I mentioned, he needs to prepare the machine and the body, which takes time and effort, plus cloning his own body, means he has to be careful. I got this idea from the Muller twins from Invincible, as well as Tartaros. At first I wanted to make it exactly like Tartaros, but at this point they haven't risen yet and not met any of Grimoire Heart. New friends. New friends. Fairy Tail Guild. Whoa. So, this is a guild. A young boy around Naruto's age with pink spiky hair stated. He was in astonishment of seeing the Fairy Tail Guild for the first time. Makarov was next to him, wearing a jester costume instead of his guildmaster's attire. Well, young Natsu, welcome to Fairy Tail. Makarov told the young Natsu. His full name is Natsu Dragneel. Natsu looked at him with slight confusion. Fairy Tail. Natsu was confused to the name. I see you're confused about the name. Do fairies have tails? More than that, do fairies even exist? Nobody knows for sure. So this guild is like them, an eternal mystery, an eternal adventure. Makarov told him, making the young boy excited again. I don't get it, but that sounds so fun. Natsu told him with honesty as Makarov chuckled. Natsu did understand one thing, that Fairy Tail would be a fun guild to join. Taking in another stray glimpse, Laxus called out to his grandfather, making the old man turn his attention to his biological grandson, only to be surprised to see a little girl walking beside him. Then again, I brought one of my own. The stray comment went over Wendy's head, and she was lightly pushed forward by Laxus, who wanted her to greet his grandfather. Hello. My name is W. Wendy. Natsu called out randomly and interrupted her. I'm sorry, who are you? Wendy questioned the young boy, though she felt that he was very familiar to her. Natsu. Sorry, I don't know how I know your name. It just came to me, but I feel like I've met you before. Wendy told him the truth. Can we move along? Gramps, this is Wendy. Wendy, meet Makarov Dreyer, he's the guild master of Fairy Tail and my grandfather. And pleased to meet you, kid. My name is Laxus, don't forget it, kid. Laxus told him with a smug tone, though Makarov noticed it was more polite than usual. Nice to meet you, Laxus. I'm Natsu Dragneel. Natsu greeted. They would all enter the guild after introducing themselves, were they? But welcomed by the guild and became new members of it. With Naruto. Dark bullet. Naruto focused darkness into his index finger and shot it as if it was a bullet from a pistol. It hit one of the arms which carried a weapon and destroyed it. He's used his own hand as if it was a gun, just like my spell. Hades looked on amused, alongside Orochimaru and Altair. They were now behind a glass inside a room with a control console, thus protecting them from stray attacks from the machine. He's getting better. Altair smiled at his progress. Naruto dodged a buzzsaw and punched the arm with a dark enhanced fist. You can sense it, can't you, master? His power not only increased, but it feels different. It's as if he feels more at peace. Orochimaru stated with intense curiosity, with Altair surprised to hear this. Yes, I can sense it too. His goal is to find his father's killer, but he met people during his time away from here. I haven't had a good look at them, but one was a girl around his age and an older boy. My guess is that the boy helped him out as I could sense great power from him. I wish I did see them in person so I could get a closer look at them. Hades also had a feeling that the older boy's aura felt familiar to him. Well, whatever they did, Naruto has improved in such a short time. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed at seeing Naruto power through his machine. Here's one. Naruto made a familiar motion, which made his observers look on with surprise that he would use so carelessly. Dark Blitzkrieg. Naruto shot out a dark blast which hit the machine's main body, piercing through its core and making it explode. Send in the Machia prototypes. Hades knew that Dark Blitzkrieg taxes Naruto's body, which horrified Altair. But master. You know he can't fight anymore after using that spell. He wouldn't be able to handle those prototypes. Altair was worried for the blonde and looked back, only to see the blonde still standing. He's still standing after using his strongest spell. Altair sighed in relief. However, she believed that the spell would still have a toll on his body, a belief shared by Orochimaru himself. He needs to surpass his limit, Altair. I will make sure that the Machia will not kill him, but he needs to grow. Hades simply stated. Strange, he's not tired from the spell. And his hands, they have not been burned. Did he learn how to control his power? Hades knew Naruto was powerful, but his magic was a double-edged sword. I'm sending them in now. Orochimaru manned the console, and Naruto heard the doors open. What now? Naruto turned around to see 3 different humanoid machines appear, each fitted with a different weapon. One had 2 blades coming out of its wrists, the other had 2 large cannons, and the last one was fitted with a large shield. Oh shy! Naruto jumped back as the gun Machia fired in front of his feet. Naruto. This will be your final task for the day. Beat these Machia and I'll teach you a nice spell. But be warned, that was just a warning shot. I have raised the difficulty from here on out. Hades told Naruto via speaker. A new spell. Alright. Naruto grinned and joined his fists together, covering them with darkness. Play One Piece. Stampede Ostriki's entrance. Bring it. Naruto moved fast and headed towards the gun Machia, only for the shield Machia to block his enhanced fist with its shield, only for Naruto to grin, as the shield Machia moved back a little due to the force of Naruto's attack. Naruto then grabbed the blade of the sword Machia and broke with his magic, but he felt a bullet hit his left arm and he was pushed back by the shield Machia. Naruto skidded on the ground, but then rolled out of the way as the gun Machia kept firing. Not going to last long. I gotta use what Laxus taught me. Naruto still held on to the wrist blade and focused channeling darkness through it, something the observers did not notice yet. The sword Machia rushed towards him, with the shield Machia following. Master. This is too much for him. Please stop them. Altair pleaded with him, with Hades sighing at her plea. I suppose you are right. Naruto does not need to die so young. Secretly, Hades grew to care for the boy as if he was his own grandson. Okay, I'll turn it off. What is he doing? Orochimaru sounded surprise, and the other two turned back to see Naruto channeling dark magic into the blade he took from the sword Machia. There is no chance he learned this on his own, he must have met someone who taught him. Orochimaru analyzed Naruto, who went to cut down the sword Machia, only the shield Machia to move in front of him. Like that'll stop me. Naruto's blade cut through the shield and split the shield Machia in half. He was then stabbed through the right shoulder by the sword Machia, but he grinned and managed to cut through its head. He then used the headless body to block gunshots from the gun Machia. He then rushed towards the gun Machia and slashed both its arms, taking them off. He then ended it and cut down its waist. Ah, send. Thanks, now I know I've gotten stronger. And I'll keep getting stronger until I find the guy who killed my dad. Naruto said darkly, but then smirked and looked at the room where Hades and the other two stood. I'm not dying yet. Naruto Namikaze never gives up. Remember that. Naruto then suddenly fainted, having lost some blood. This boy never ceases to amaze me. Even though he is not a prodigy. He has grown stronger in such a short time. Perhaps I should teach him the Rasengan and how long it would take him to learn it. Hades knew that learning the Rasengan was not easy, in fact the only reason he was able to use it straight away during his battle with Jiraiya was because of years of experience with all types of magic. I could easily take them out, but I did not expect Naruto to do it. He'll make a strong ally for the future. Altair thought to herself until Hades spoke to her. Altair. I forgot to ask, but how is the situation with that child? Hades asked his most loyal follower. If you mean Joel, everything is going smoothly. That poor boy is now a devout follower of Lord Zerv. Altair had smile which could only be considered evil. My dream shall be fulfilled, and everything I do, good or bad, is only for that dream. Her smile turned into a frown. I see. At least it is going according to plan. Take Naruto to the infirmary and patch him up. Orochimaru, I need to discuss something with you alone. Hades looked at Altair when he said the word alone, indicating that it was her time to leave. Altair did so, picking up and dragging Naruto's sleeping form from the training room to the infirmary, complaining about how heavy he was. Now that she's gone and now that we have settled into our new base, I want to discuss what happened to that book you were looking at. Hades' tone was not amused, and the book he was referring to was the book of Belial Orochimaru was researching earlier. Unfortunately, the book was left behind, or the most likely scenario is that the intruders have it. Orochimaru was sweating as Hades grew angry and unleashed his bloodlust. That book was kept in the archives because it possessed dangerous magic and abilities beyond human comprehension. Hades calmed himself down. But you are not completely to blame. I also allowed you to research the book with little care, and now it is most likely in the possession of the Magic Council. Unless that foolish Jiraiya decides to tamper with it. Orochimaru knew something about his old teammate many other people do not. When someone he cares about is in danger, he will do anything it takes to protect them, even if it means to give himself up to the dark arts. Then he may have already researched the book. If he is not careful, he could release dark forces. Hades informed Orochimaru, who was curious. That explains that strange feeling as I held it. I felt as if the book was corrupting my mind. Orochimaru thought to himself. Though if I asked anyone else, they think I already lost my mind. Most people only think of Belial as a myth, but his story was lost in time. This is the one I was told of by an old friend of mine. Hades began to narrate the story. Flashback story sequence with Hades' narration. Belial only became Demon King 500 years ago, at least a century before the rise of the Dark Wizard Zerv. The shadow of a young demonic figure sat on a throne as he was cheered by a legion of demons. Belial fought against other candidates and bested them all with his own skill. Belial's figure cut down many other of his kin, with Belial cutting off the head of the final opponent. Under his rule, the demon clan flourished and grew powerful. Belial himself was given the title, Warrior King of Hell. They would live far away from most human kingdoms and remain neutral until they were attacked 100 years after their kingdom formed. Belial and his legion were attacked by the combined might of humans and dragons. The dragons were the real problem as their scales were too tough for lesser demons. However, Belial proved himself worthy of title and slew many dragons with his power, but ultimately his power paled in comparison to the leaders of the dragons. Belial's forces were decimated by the dragons, and only a few were left. In his desperation, he went back to his own realm, to the realm where the demons originated from. There, he would bathe in the blood of the previous demon kings, awakening his true power. Belial performed a ritual and slowly submerged himself in the blood of the previous demons. He would emerge from it, and his appearance became much more demonic. Belial returned to Earthland and killed the dragon leaders and any human that dared to attack his people. But, by bathing in the blood of the previous demon kings, he changed. He was far more cruel and began to collect and create ancient spells, placing them into a book. Belial became more ruthless and even started to force humans to become his slaves. However, the mighty wizard Seraph had arrived, and with the help of a mighty fire dragon, took on Belial. The fire dragon was able to push Belial back, force the current ruler of demons back. Despite this, Belial was able to push him back. Seraph and the fire dragon bested Belial in battle. They destroyed the last demon king, but his legacy continued as his book full of spells remained. Belial was blasted into pieces and his book was left on the ground. And sequence. At least that was the legend I was told of in my youth. Hades recalled a time when he was a treasure hunter with 2 others. As you can see, I found the book many years ago, and it gave me useful information and powerful spells. And I deeply apologize for losing such a precious find. I myself looked into the contents of the book. Did you by any chance find something odd about the book? Orochimaru sounded quite nervous. The complex equations. Yes, but I figured it out a long time ago. Those equations are simply a key which unlocks the seal to the Demon King's more powerful spells and curses. I simply locked them again to prevent anyone from using the book against me. However, I knew you would come across it and possibly decipher the code. Hades admitted with a smirk. I see. Well, I must take my leave. Even I need my rest. Orochimaru left the room as Hades smirked to himself. Foolish snake. I already have what I need from that book, including the information which makes me invincible. Information which would have you frothing from your mouth. Hades then decided to get some rest. 2 years later. Look out. Bandits. A simple town was attacked by a group of thugs, but a blast hit the ground and blasted them away. Looks like you guys are unlucky. A familiar voice called as a young blonde-haired boy with blue eyes arrived at the scene. His hair was slightly spikier, he wore a red shirt, black shorts, black shoes and a black jacket. He had grown only slightly taller. Because Naruto. Namikaze is in the house. Naruto cracked his knuckles and rushed the bandits. And? Sorry for the delay and slightly shorter chapter, but I wanted to release it ASAP and had to change a few things in this. Can you guess which Seiga character Naruto has his black and red attire color scheme based on? Hopefully my next chapter will be longer. Next chapter, Naruto will recruit the first member of his small group. The character is from Naruto. Strong fist. Strong fist. You guys are weak. Naruto had tied up the bandits and tossed them into a cart. If I catch you here again, then you'll have to eat through straws for weeks. Naruto threatened them, which frightened them. Now, bye-bye. Naruto grinned as he kicked the cart which rolled the hill, making the bandits scream in terror. The townsfolk cheered and congratulated him. You're tough. Thanks for saving us. You remind me of the Lee kid. He's tough too. Lee? Maybe I can recruit him. The old man finally gave me permission to form my own group. Once the crowd dispersed, Naruto went to talk to the person who mentioned Lee. Oh, that Lee kid. Yeah, he's a tough one. He's about your age, just a little bit older and he gets challengers. A lot of them. The man told Naruto, though his friends chimed in. Yeah. The kid manages to beat them back. They're just thugs who wanted to own the joint. Another person stated. Where can I find this town? I want to meet this Lee guy. Naruto asked them and they gave him the directions to the dojo. A few hours later. So, this is the place. Naruto looked at the worn-out dojo with a sign that says Might Guy's Youthful Dojo. Youthful Dojo. I'm gonna regret this. Naruto did not bother to knock first and entered the dojo. 198. 199. 200. A young boy with a bowl haircut was doing push-ups as Naruto watched the boy work up a sweat. Hey. Are you Rock Lee? Naruto's voice made the boy stop and look up at him. Whoa. He's got bushy eyebrows. Naruto thought to himself and saw the boy swiftly stand up. Greetings. Yes, I am Rock Lee, master of this dojo. Lee sounded quite energetic to Naruto. Have you come to challenge me? I will be happy to oblige. Lee took a fighting stance, but Naruto put his hand forward. I don't want to fight. Well, not just yet. I want to talk with you. Naruto told him, halting the older boy. Naruto saw that the boy wore a green jumpsuit with orange leg warmers, a blue waistband and bandages over his wrists and hands. Naruto saw that he was already panting and had a few scratches. Very well. Let's talk. Lee sat cross-legged on the floor. Please sit down. Would you like some tea? Naruto shook his head. You doing alright? Because you look like you got run over by a carriage. Naruto showed some concern to a boy only just met. Please do not concern yourself with this. I simply have a lot of challengers and only just managed to gain the free time to train. Lee was an honest person and to him he did have a lot of challengers. Then that explains it. You haven't had a chance to rest up. Even the strongest guys need rest. Oh, my name is Naruto by the way. Naruto Namikaze. Naruto had forgotten to introduce himself earlier. It is nice to meet you Naruto. Since you mentioned my name, I don't think I need to introduce myself. What you say is true, I will try to rest up tonight. Lee told Naruto. So, if you have not come to challenge me, then why are you here? Well, some guys from last town told me about you, and then I knew that I had to meet you. I came to ask you to join my guild. Naruto told him with a straight face, something which surprised Lee. So, you're a wizard too? I'm sorry, but I cannot leave this dojo. Guy-sensei left me this dojo to look after. Lee looked at the picture displayed behind him, which Naruto only took notice of. The guy in the picture has even bushier brows than this guy. This was Naruto's first thought. I see. So, your dad left you his dojo after he passed away and you feel like you need to protect it. Naruto can understand that. Oh, Guy-sensei is not my father. And he's not dead. He simply retired after a leg injury. Lee told him, making Naruto trip up comically. Are you kidding me? They look almost exactly like each other. Naruto picked himself up. My bad. But you two do look alike. I get that quite a lot. My eyebrows have always been like this, but I modeled my attire after his own. I idolize him as he helped me train and become a skilled fighter and wizard. Lee admitted. So, you do use magic then? Cool. How about tomorrow you show me your magic? And I'll show you mine. Naruto surprised Lee, who hesitated at first but then smiled and nodded. Very well. Suddenly, thunder sounded. It seems that the weather will take a turn for the worst. Have you a place to stay? You are. Welcome to stay the night. That's nice of you. But I already found a place in the forest to stay, so don't worry about me. Naruto replied to him with a wave of his hand. Fair enough. Then I would like to discuss why you want to recruit me. You know nothing of me and only the fact that I face people. Go after my dojo. And to be honest, I am nothing special, you could easily find someone else to join your guild. Lee told him, only to make Naruto laugh. Special? I don't care about that. I didn't know if you would be strong or not. I still don't. Today is the first day I've met you and you seem like a good guy. Gramps, that's what I call my guild master trained me, and now he says I'm ready to recruit whoever I want. Naruto told him the truth. I see. However, I cannot join you. I must protect this dojo, Bai-sensei, and this all I can do to repay him. Lee told Naruto, which sounded more like a burden. Okay. I think I'm starting to get him now. If he was anyone else, I would have left him alone. But now, I know what to do. Naruto stood back up. Then how about this, Rock Lee, I challenge you for this dojo. Lee looked at him with wide eyes before they narrowed. When and where? Lee stood up and looked ready for a fight. In 2 days and at noon. I found a clearing outside of town, that way we can go all out. That way you'll be at 100% and you can't whine. When I beat you fair and square. And what better way for me to see your magic than fighting you firsthand? Naruto smirked. What do you say? I accept your challenge. This will the best way for me to see your magic and for you to see the difference in our abilities. Lee told him with complete confidence, but he then suddenly yawned. I see somebody's tired. Naruto gave his usual cheeky smile, luckily turning the tense situation into a more carefree one. Well, I'll see you around. I need to head to the forest before it starts raining. The thunder sounded again. Oh crap. See you in 2 days, Bushi. Browse. Naruto said it a cheeky yet a nice way and left. What a strange boy. Lee looked at Guy's picture again. Sensei. I will not abandon your dojo and I will win. Lee went to sleep, still thinking of Naruto's challenge. 10 minutes later. Naruto stayed inside Tree Hollow and looked at the rain. This brings back memories. Has it really been 2 years already? Naruto remembered the time he met Wendy and how they took shelter in the tree. I wonder if you're thinking about me, Wendy. Because I always think about you. Naruto smiled as he saw the rain, and an image of Wendy appeared to him. Fairy Tail Guild. This rain. It reminds me of that time. Wendy looked at the rain and thought about her friend Naruto. Wendy had gotten taller and her hair grew, reaching up to her waist now. She had 2 bangs framing her face which reached down to her chest alongside her brown eyes. She is now wearing a dress with 2 wavy stripes running across the dress and ending in small pointed edges at the bottom. Around her arms and legs, she wears wing-like attachments. She now bears the Fairy Tail Guild mark on her right shoulder. Wendy? The cat appeared beside Wendy. It was quite young and only born a year ago. The cat is female and had white-colored fur. The cat also wore a red dress. Oh, sorry Carla. I was just thinking about something. Or rather someone. Wendy missed her friend, but was glad that she made new ones too. Carla hatched from an egg Wendy found, and the young cat had the ability to sprout wings from her back, enabling her to fly. Flying cats. Who knew? Makarov downed in Mugavale. Carla was not the only cat with wings, as Natsu has also found an egg and another cat with blue fur hatched from it, except it was male. The cat is named Happy, and he had some affection for Carla. Makarov saw the new generation cause a commotion. Natsu was arguing with Grey Fullbuster, a black-haired boy who has a habit of stripping randomly. They were stopped by a red-headed girl who armor, only for said girl to start a fight with a white-haired girl that wore gothic attire. These brats are too destructive. Makarov thought to himself, but then saw his biological grandson, Laxus. He still won't talk to me properly since I excommunicated Ivan. But Ivan left me no choice. Makarov sighed, but he decided to think of something else. The potential candidates for the S-class trials. Laxus may have become colder, but he still shows potential. Maybe the trial is what he needs. And I still can't believe that Laxus found Naruto, and he joined a guild. But that doesn't mean he's safe. Laxus noticed that he acted weirdly near the end. I just hope he hasn't joined a dark guild. Makarov recalled the conversation they had 2 years ago. Flashback, 2 years ago. You met Naruto, where is he? Makarov asked, or rather demanded from Laxus. Laxus had mentioned Naruto at the guild hall, and Makarov told Laxus to come to his office. What's your problem, Gramps? He just went back his guild. Though he did act strange when he decided to head back. Laxus told his grandfather. That boy Naruto. I knew his father, but unfortunately, he passed away. We were searching for him for 2 years and you managed to find him. Please tell me what you know. Makarov pleaded with Laxus, who would normally ignore that, but he saw his grandfather's eyes. I'll tell you what I know, but you have to tell what is going. And what do you mean we? There are more of you looking for Naruto. Laxus's question would be answered and he would not like them. Flashback over. Laxus. Please forgive this foolish old man for his mistakes. Makarov thought to himself. But it is good that he cares about Naruto and isn't too cold to his guildmates. 2 days later with Naruto. Okay, this is the clearing. I hope you aren't going to hold back, because that would be insulting. Naruto told Lee with confidence. No, I have too much in stake. I will be going all out. Lee was kicking the air and then took a fighting stance. Then we'll go on the count of 3. You ready? Naruto saw him nod. 3, 2, 1, go. Both boys rushed each other, with Naruto being kicked. Naruto crossed his arms to block the kick. Fairy Tail lost invoke magic. You should have dodged, your arms will be bro. What? Lee was surprised to see Naruto's arms coated in darkness and minimize the damage. Suddenly, Lee was pushed back as the darkness burst and sent a shockwave. He manipulates the shadows. No, it's darkness. Lee was still standing as he skidded back. His kick. It packed a punch. And he's fast too. Naruto was surprised to Lee disappear from his sight almost instantly, and Naruto did not notice until it was too late, as Lee was by his left side and kicked him. Naruto was sent skidding back, but he landed on his feet and then saw Lee rush him. Great. Superhuman strength and speed. But Naruto channeled darkness into his right hand and punched the ground, causing it to crack, making Lee lose his footing. I'll still win. Tripping me up, whoa. Lee was surprised as a blast of darkness came out of the cracks and hit him straight on. Lee was sent flying back and landed on his back. Lee then flipped himself back up. If I did not use my magic to strengthen my body, that attack could have done a lot more damage. He really is tough. Good. You have to be if you're going to be part of my group. Naruto saw that Lee disappeared from his view again and now right in front of him. He was hit by a left hook, however, unlike last time, he was not sent flying back. Lee kept up his assault and landed many hits on him. He's withstanding my attacks despite my earlier blows sending him flying. Lee's right wrist was grabbed by Naruto, surprising the older boy. What? Lee was surprised, only to see Naruto channel darkness in his right hand. I have to increase my defense. Lee's body was outlined by blue ore, only for it to break as Naruto hit him with a darkness-enhanced fist. Lee felt pain and landed on the ground, skidding back. Just because you got some hits in, doesn't mean you can get so cocky. Naruto had bruises on his body and blood falling from his lip, but he had a grin. Easier said than done, feels like I got run over by a stampede. Ah, send. Why your magic, you possess the power of darkness. Lee coughed out and had a bloody nose. And I can sense it. You fighting me seriously, but you aren't going all out. You have more powerful spells. I could say the same to you. I know your magic involves making your body stronger and faster. Otherwise, you would have been taken out just now. My magic is darkness magic, and what's yours called? Naruto smirked as he wiped blood from his face. That is correct. My magic is known as enhance. My physical prowess increases, but if I had not trained my body, my attacks would not be as effective. Lee then had fire in his eyes. But, with my training in the fighting style Guy Sensei taught me, I shall be the victor. Oh? And what do you call this fighting style? Naruto asked him, clearly impressed. Fairy Tail lost salamander theme. Strong fist. Lee simply said and rushed Naruto again. Naruto jumped back before Lee could hit him. Leaf Hurricane turned his body to perform a spinning kick, which released a small shockwave. Naruto hit but managed to rebound as Lee followed up with another Leaf Hurricane, only for Naruto to duck underneath and uppercut Lee. Lee then rolled and landed a kick on top of Naruto's head. Naruto held his head and then rolled out of the way from Lee's next kick, which cracked the ground. Naruto then dropkicked Lee, who skidded back. You really are strong, you know that, Lee. Naruto was out of breath. Same to you, Naruto. Lee was also out of breath. He began to undo his bandages. However, this will end it. I will be the victor. Lee focused his aura surrounded his body once again. Lee moved faster than before and ducked from Naruto's right swing. Naruto avoided Lee's kick and jumped up to avoid another one. However, this was what Lee wanted as Lee's aura increased and he was now behind Naruto. Shadow Dancing Leaf. Lee was now behind Naruto and wrapped bandages around his body. Lee spun rapidly with Naruto and dropped down to the ground. Sorry, but an attack like this wouldn't work on me. Naruto covered his body in dark aura and burned through the bandages. What? No. Lee's aura was broken as Naruto released a dark wave from his body. Naruto undid his aura and headbutted Lee. He grabbed Lee and twisted his body before landing a final kick as they hit the ground. Lee could not move his body as he was slowly about to lose consciousness. Boss end. You know, it's okay to protect your teacher's dojo, but I'm sure he wanted you to find your own way. I won't force you to join me and you can keep your dojo, but is it what you really want? Naruto asked him with a smile. Lee, the springtime of youth has more than one path. If you want the dojo, it is yours. But remember to make friends and follow your own path. Sensei, I have been a fool. Lee gasped one last thing before he fell unconscious. Why, you are the victor. I accept your offer. Lee said to Naruto as his eyes closed. You won't regret it, bushy brows. Naruto smiled and laid down beside him. Welcome to the team. And hope you enjoyed this chapter. Naruto's group is being formed and I do wish I could have made this longer, but I want to bring in Naruto's own squad soon. Lee is one of my favorites from the original anime, and I wish Naruto was done differently. Lee's magic basically is like the 8 gates, but styled differently. Enhance will also have the same effect as the 8 gates eventually, and Enhance is only effective as it is because of Lee's training. Lee is strong, but Naruto was stronger this time around. But the durability of Fairy Tail's characters and Naruto himself is greater than Lee's. New teammates. New teammates. Unknown location. Maiden's Fury. Rin launched a barrage of punches at Obito and Kakashi. Obito used his spatial magic to avoid the barrage, whilst Kakashi dodged each punch. Kakashi saw an opening and managed to grab Rin's left arm, throwing her at Obito. Rin smirked and rolled in the air, almost landing a dropkick against Obito if not for the latter barely rolling out of the way. Are you trying to kill me? Obito saw Rin's kick made large crater on the ground. Rin giggled at him and stuck her tongue out. I know it won't kill you and besides, I can heal you afterwards. If we don't go all out, then we can't see who's the strongest one here. Rin told him confidently. When you put it that way. Obito smirked and teleported away from Kakashi's sneak attack, who unleashed a stream of lightning which hit Rin, electrocuting her. Why, you'll pay for that, Kakashi. Rin's hair was sticking up and she was angry. You were the one who let her guard down. Kakashi's eyes smiled at her, but he was kicked by Obito, only to grab Obito's leg and threw him to the ground. And all your moves are obvious, Obito. Kakashi then felt something was off. It proved to be the correct assumption as Kakashi was hit by a flame enhanced which came out of a portal from the ground. That wasn't obvious now, was it? Obito smirked and saw Rin punch Kakashi, who crossed his arms the last second and channeled lightning through them. Rin still powered through and hit him with thunder. A lightning bolt jolted out from Kakashi's right arm, and then hit Rin, who used her strength magic to enhance her durability, as the lightning bolt hit her. Rin. Obito let his guard down, and Kakashi capitalized, channeling his body with lightning and spinning rapidly, hitting Obito and taking him out as well. Ugh. You two really pack a punch. But this is my win. Kakashi was still standing. A few more hits and not even I could get up. Kakashi realized in terms of power they were near equal, but his skill and quick thinking let him win their intense spar. After an hour, the other two woke up and bandaged themselves up. Rin and Obito glared at Kakashi, who gave a small nervous laugh. You're lucky this was only a spar. If we used our full power, we could have killed you. Obito was sour about his loss, but he knew that between the three of them, Kakashi was the most balanced in terms of power, intelligence, and speed. But we also know that you did not use your own full power. Obito and I agree with Lord Hiruzen that you deserve the position. So, Obito. Rin's glare turned into a sweet smile. Obito gave a cheeky grin and used his magic to summon a cake. Congratulations. They both said at the same time. On the cake it said congratulations, which Kakashi appreciated. The reason why is that Kakashi has now become the 10th Wizard Saint. With Naruto. What is this place, Lee? Naruto asked his first recruit who was grinning. They were in front of a restaurant. Akimichi Barbek. Guy-sensei brought me here a few times and introduced me to the owner. Chose Akimichi, he's quite strong and is a former fighting champion. In fact, he is known as the Great Yokozuna, a great honor for one such as him. Lee stated in admiration for the man he mentioned. Okay, and what's a Yokozuna? Naruto was confused, it was the first time he heard that word. Oh? Yokozuna is the highest rank one can achieve in sumo wrestling. Lee told him with such joy. Men who fight their hardest are the most youthful. And is this shows a guy actually a sumo wrestler? Naruto knew about the sport of sumo wrestling. His father told him about the sport and how they ate a lot. Well, he was given the title after protecting the town from dark wizards by the Terrakichi Association, an organization which controls and officiates sumo wrestling. It helps that he once trained to become a competitor, but he instead enlisted in the Magic Council's military service. Lee wanted to meet with former champion once more, as he heard from his former teacher that he was strong. Okay, but didn't you mention that he was a former champion? If he wasn't a sumo wrestler, then what was he champion of? Naruto was truly confused by Lee's words. Oh? There is usually a festival where wizards enter to be crowned champion in this town. It's called the Festival of Neat. Choza won the festival a few years ago, and is the only man to win that title twice. Now he owns his own restaurant, which is where we will find him. I believe he could be part of the team. Lee looked at the boy who recruited him with burning eyes. Fine, we'll meet up with him and ask him. Naruto sighed and gave a small smile. Lee yelled and hugged Naruto, before letting him go and screaming about youth, which disturbed Naruto. Maybe some barbecue will do me some good too. They entered the restaurant, where Naruto saw a large husky man with long brown hair into a ponytail and wearing a chef's uniform. Welcome to Akimichi Barbecue. Wait. Lee, my boy. The chef went towards Lee and hugged him, who returned it. It is good to see you again, Mr. Akimichi. Oh, please meet my new friend, Naruto. Naruto, this is Mr. Akimichi. They dropped the hug as Lee gestured to the blonde, giving a friendly smile and wave. This boy, he seems familiar, but I can't remember from where. Choza put that thought aside and greeted Naruto with a handshake. Pleased to meet you, Naruto. A friend of Lee's is also a friend of mine. The pleasure's all mine. Lee told me about you and how you own this restaurant before we came in. I have to say, this place isn't too shabby at all. Naruto was impressed by the restaurant. Haha. I like you, kid. I'll cook you some food if you like, and since you're Lee's friend, it's on the house. He saw Naruto's excited look, and then patted his head, which annoyed him a little, but it was also a nice feeling because his father used to do that for him. I'll take up that offer then. Can't wait to try your food, old man. Naruto said old man in such a nice way that Choza did not mind it. He could tell Naruto was the type of person that was informal, and was not trying to sound disrespectful. Then I'll show you how barbecue is done. Hahaha. Choza then remembered something. Oh right. I wanted to introduce you to him the last time you were here but couldn't. Choji. Get out here. Choza called out a name and moments later, a boy who looked remarkably like a younger version of him arrived. Lee, Naruto. Meet my son. Choji. Choji, he's Rock Lee, and he's Naruto. Say hello, Choji. Choza gestured to the two. Hello, my name is Choji. Nice to meet you, Lee and Naruto. Choji smiled at them. He then looked at Choza. The three boys began talking with each other until a sound was heard. Two more people had arrived. One was a man around Choza's age wearing sunglasses and dark spiky short hair. He wore a coat and had a gourd strapped to his back. The other person looked like a younger version of him, presumably the older man's son. Shibi. You son of a gun, it's been a few weeks. How's the bug hunting going? And Shino, my boy. Good to see you again. Choza shook hands with Shibi, and Shino gave a simple hello. Oh, where are my manners? Lee. Naruto. Meet my old friend Shibi Abiram and his son, Shino. Shib and Shino, this is Rock Lee, Guy's former student, and this is Naruto. We were just about to eat, join us. They all greeted each other, with the Abiram family obliging to Choza's request. Shibi needed to talk to Choza after their meal anyways. This is good old man Choza, no wonder Lee speaks highly of you. Naruto took a bite out the meat and then took another bite. I'd love to get the recipe, unless it's an old family secret. Hahaha. If you want that recipe, you'll have to cook something for me first, and I'll see if you're worthy of the Akimichi family recipe. Choza replied to him with his usual laugh. My apologies, Choza, but we need to talk in private. Shibi. Interrupted. I apologize to you too, Naruto, but it is urgent that I speak to Choza privately. You too, Shino, Lee and Choji. Well, if you have to talk in private, guess we'll go for now. Come on guys, let's get out of here. Naruto wanted to see more of the town and speak to his new acquaintances. So, what do you want to tell me, Shibi? Knowing you, I know that this isn't a social visit, is it? Choza turned serious. You are right. I was at the outskirts of the town, researching insects until I overheard bandits near the area. They mentioned heading towards this town, and I attempted to confront them, but I was attacked by a shadow. This made Choza look at Shibi with concern. Does that mean it's a dark wizard who is proficient in shadow magic? Did they escape? Choza asked his old friend, who stood up and opened his coat. He revealed bandages cover his upper torso. It was the opposite, I was the one who escaped. The shadow user, I could not detect him at all, and he managed to cut me with his shadow. It's worse than you think, the user is the criminal, Pierrot the Dark Jester. Now Choza knew he had no choice but to battle. Then it's serious. I have one question for you, my old friend. Will you help me? He smiled at Shibi's nod. This town has been our home for more than a decade now. Our sons were raised here, and the townsfolk are basically our hive. I will fight. Shibi and Choza prepared themselves for a fight with Naruto's group. So, your magic is called calorie control, and lets you change your size. And yours is called hive. You can control bugs. Naruto asked the two boys. Yeah, it's the reason why I have to eat a lot. Choji was eating potato chips again. These chips have a lot of calories in them and are special made by my dad. I can convert my calories into mass, and food helps me regulate my magic power. Well, for me, my insects can be used for information and tracking. But they can also be used to swarm enemies and release toxins. Though compared to our fathers, Choji and I cannot fully use our magic. We require more training. What Shino said made Naruto's decision easier. Well, you can only do so much by yourselves. You need experience and to test yourselves. So, how about you join our team, and we'll grow stronger together? Naruto offered them his hand. That's a great idea. Shino. Choji. Please accept the offer. Lee was excited at the prospect of sparring with the two if they joined their team. I can see your point. I would need to discuss this with my father. And it would be nice to have comrades near our own age. Shino was thinking about Naruto's offer, as was Choji. You see, despite being the son of a former fighting champion, Choji had trouble having friends near his age, as kids found him too slow because of his weight. Shino was considered weird because of his looks and his interest in insects. So, you don't have any friends. What about you, Choji? Naruto saw Choji shake his head negatively. Then, I'll be your friend. And I'm sure Lee will be too. Right, Lee? He looked at the bow-cut-haired boy, who flashed a smile and a thumbs up. Well, but we'll discuss it with our parents first. Shino told them and would have explained further until they heard screams nearby. What was that? Choji almost choked on a chip after hearing the screams. Someone's in trouble, better check it out. Naruto moved first, then Lee and Shino. Choji followed afterward. Wait up. Choji called out, being the slowest of the group. Other side of town. Hahaha. That's right. Run away, you pathetic rats. Let's rip some throats out. I wonder if they have some pretty girls here. Several bandits began ransacking the town and said their thoughts out loud. One of the more perverted bandits began to reach for a young woman. Come on, Bab. He was kicked in the face by none other than Rock Lee. He was knocked into two more bandits. Who are you? One of them demanded from Lee. I am the handsome green beast. Rock Lee. Lee rushed a lot of the bandits, many of whom could use magic, despite not being particularly powerful by themselves. Take our group fireball. They all joined their multiple fireballs into a large one, only for Naruto to arrive and channel his darkness magic into his right hand. Lame. Naruto punched the fireball and vanquished it. All you guys combined your power and that's the best you can do. You guys are amateurs. Naruto was not impressed as he had seen another member of his guild create a fireball much larger than the one he just destroyed, and he was around Naruto's age. Naruto then stretched out his open left palm and blasted them, simply knocking them out. You brat. Several of them began to move towards Naruto, only to be stopped by a swarm of bugs. What the? You will not be harming anyone. Choji, now. Shino stretched out his arms to reveal insects coming out of his sleeves. Got it. Choji's size had increased slightly, mainly his torso. He then rolled to become a human boulder. Human boulder. Choji knocked them down as if they were bowling pins after Shino's insects moved out of the way. Choji then returned to normal. Whoa. You guys weren't kidding about your magic. Naruto was impressed. He was not the only one. Lee was impressed too, as with the two adults who just appeared. Choza and Shibi had arrived. Looks like our sons are growing up in front of us. Attaboy Choji. Choza yelled proudly at his son, who heard him and grinned at the praise. He did well too, Shino. You have just realized your first steps into becoming a true wizard. Shibi told his son, who nodded his head in acknowledgement. Whoa, old man Choza, nice get up you got there. Naruto saw Choza dressed up in red armored battle gear. My battle gear. Wore this back when I used to be part of the military. Got to say though, I didn't picture you using darkness magic. His magic power is already greater than my own. Though this kid doesn't seem bad. He manipulated darkness, my insects feel something off about him. However, the boy does not seem evil to me. Shibi then felt a familiar presence at the last second. Naruto. Get away from there now. It was too late as Naruto was struck by a shadow shaped like a large tendril. Naruto. Lee was first to respond and ran towards Naruto. I'm good. Naruto's jacket was ripped, and his right side was covered by darkness. It dissipated a few seconds later. He covered the right side of his body with darkness, and it was a good thing he did. That attack could have been fatal to any other person. Lee was happy that his leader was skilled. This kid is impressive indeed. Felt off for a second there though. Choza looked at Naruto first and then stared at the shadow, which retracted and from the ground was a single shadow. I'm impressed. A figure slowly emerged from the ground. It was a male, around 5 feet 5, wearing a black and jester costume. He wore a masquerade mask with bells. It was white with black outlines. A little boy like you has that much potential, I can tell. So, kid, will you entertain me? End. Apologies for the delay in this slightly shorter and rushed chapter. I've been so busy, and not to mention the stress from family. I also have a third job, one which I enjoy. Also, what would you think of a Naruto in the X-Men Evolution World story? Not anytime soon, because just writing 2 stories is a challenge. He would be paired with Shadowcat, and I'm debating is he should have shadow powers or powers that let him use his energy constructs or beast transformation. Pierrot the Dark Jester. Pierrot the Dark Jester. Parrot. What kind of name is that? You aren't even a bird. Naruto's words made Pierrot want to slap himself. This is the child I was told to test. Old man, you owe me for this. My name is Pierrot, insolent child. How a brat like you possesses great power is beyond me, especially the power of darkness. Pierrot whispered mostly to himself. Brat. Sorry, but you don't get to call me that. Naruto was ready to go, only for Choza and Shibi to stand in front of him. Sorry kid, but he's ours. You don't know how dangerous he is, his minions were only small fries. Choza was an experienced warrior and knew that Naruto could not challenge a man like Pierrot. Yet. Ah, Choza Akimichi. I heard about you and your great strength. But you are a fool to think that I only brought mere foot soldiers with me. Pierrot's shadow extended and a large arm appeared beneath it. Choza and Shibi moved out of the way as a man who towered above Choza came out of the ground. He had neck-long, black curly hair, an overly muscular body with a gladiator-type attire. Where are my manners? Me trays. Naruto wasn't too impressed. Lee thought he looked strong, but Choji and Shino felt fear. Shibi. I'll handle Pierrot, you handle that Ray's guy. Choza rushed to Pierrot, who turned into a shadow, running away from the fight, but Choza gave chase. I heard of you. Over 10 years ago, you were imprisoned for fighting in illegal tournaments and brutalizing your opponents. You were caught, but not before killing 10 people. You were given the name Raze the Butcher. Shibi summoned his insects to attack Raze, only for Raze to slash them with his hands. Tiger Claws. Shino. You and the others get the townsfolk to safety. Do not fight this man, he's far too dangerous for you. Shibi did not finish his command as Raze already appeared in front of him. Shibi made an insect shield and jumped back. What should we do, Naruto? Lee asked the blonde, who looked serious. You guys get the people to safety, I'll back Shino's dad up. Besides, I feel like punching something. Naruto told them with confidence, his fists covered in darkness. Lee then realized something. You just want to fight him. Lee accused his leader, who smiled at him, before rushing towards Raze and Shibi. The other 3 looked at each and began evacuating the townspeople. Tiger Claw. Raze was incredibly fast despite his size. Swarm Fist. Shibi held out his open palm and released a swarm of insects which were shaped like a fist. Unfortunately, Shibi's attack was avoided as Raze was too fast for him and almost slashed his chest if Shibi had not manipulated the insect swarm which formed his fist into a makeshift shield. This situation is undesirable. His physical abilities exceed my own by a large degree, and no doubt his magic is enhancing those said abilities. His hands resemble tiger claws, meaning he may be using a form of transformation magic. Shibi was analyzing his opponent for any weak points. He noticed that Raze's legs were that of a tiger too. Shibi Abiram. You do not stand a chance against me. Raze's body glowed and changed into a humanoid tiger. Your fighting spirit is weak. He began to overpower Shibi's insects. He's became a beast. His bloodlust. Shibi was pushed back and sent flying, but Raze was not done and followed him using his superior speed. His physical strength has increased significantly. This is the end. Raze was about to strike Shibi, only to be hit face first by a darkness-enhanced fist. Naruto had joined the battle. Shibi managed to rebound because of Naruto's timely save. Why are you here? Shibi was surprised to see Naruto here. Play My Hero Academia OS Bikugo theme. Sorry old man Shibi, but I couldn't stand back. Don't worry, I told the guys to get the people to safety. And I'll be the one to beat this tiger guy up. Naruto readied himself Raze, who was still disorientated from Naruto's surprise attack from earlier. That attack packed quite a punch. Raze spat out a bloody tooth. Darkness. Raze looked at Naruto and grinned fiercely. You're dead, brat. He moved fast and would have struck Naruto if not for Naruto, releasing a beam of darkness which split into several smaller beams, only for Raze to move past them. Got you? The beams Naruto released turned around and hit Raze. This only slowed Raze down, who managed to almost tackle Naruto if not for Shibi, sending a swarm of his insects to push Naruto out of the way. Thanks, old man. Naruto annoyed Shibi, but the experienced wizard had just used these moments to analyze Raze. Send. This form of his gives him increased strength, speed and durability. However, he has still taken damage, and his movements were sluggish at that moment. Clearly Naruto's attacks have some effect. Shibi began to strategize. I didn't expect a child like you to already have this level of strength. But my beast magic more than triples my strength. So, make it easy. On yourself. Ray's had a bloodthirsty grin on his face, and looked like he could eat the two in front of him. Sorry, taking the easy way out ain't my style. And I haven't even started yet. Can I finish him off with Dark Blitzkrieg? At my level now, it's much more powerful. Or I could use Dark Drill. Naruto could feel Ray's bloodlust, and instead of fear, he felt excitement. This guy's got nothing against Blue Note. Naruto had the image of large man with a ponytail in his mind. Naruto, please allow me to handle this. He is an animal who will have no qualms in killing you. Shibi warned the blonde, who looked at him seriously. I know, but unless you have an attack that can take him out, then I'll be the one to fight him. Naruto then felt an attack coming from Ray's and channeled darkness through his feet to propel himself to the air. Ray's then spun and leaped towards Naruto's location. Fairy Tail lost Salamander. That attack. It's like Tsum's Fang over Fang. But it is much faster and presumably more powerful. Shibi was quick to action and fired a swarm of insects like cannon shot, and they hit Naruto out of the way. Shibi then repeatedly fired another using his other hand. Annoying bugs. Ray soared through the swarm, only for the insects to explode upon contact. However, it was not enough, and he turned his attention to Shibi. Ray spun much faster and smaller slashes showing. Shibi then created a large wall of insects to protect himself, using whatever magic he had left. Rays began to tear through. Shibi's defense. This is bad. I'm even utilizing my poisonous insects, and with the dosage, even they aren't slowing him down. No, he's taking them out before they can infect him. Shibi then focused on making more layers of insects. Old man Shibi needs help. Naruto made several dark blasts from his hands to propel himself towards Rays and Shibi. As soon as Naruto got closer, he surrounded his entire body with darkness. Well, let's try it out. Dark Drill. Naruto spun around and hit Rays dead on, causing a shockwave which blasted Shibi back. No. Rays was overpowered and taken down, his helmet shattered, and he reverted back to his human form. Boss end. This boy he defeated a seasoned wizard like Rays without a scratch. He underestimated Rays a few times, but he could have defeated him by himself. He's reckless but he has potential. Shibi was exhausted and took his time to recuperate. That's one down and one to go. Naruto breathed heavily for a few seconds before he sat down. Just 5 minutes and we'll go find the other guy. Apologies, but I'm afraid I don't have the strength for another battle. Shibi told Naruto that he was at his limit. If this was 10 years ago, I would have been fine. However, I am no longer in my prime or anywhere near it. I have become rusty compared to Choza. Alright, I'll head on out and find old man Choza. Naruto was excited to see Choza battle after hearing about him from Lee. If you intend on fighting, perhaps stop being so reckless. You have immense power for your age, but you are reckless. You underestimated your opponent and could have gotten hurt if not for my insects. Shibi was blunt. Nah, I had under control. I could block his attacks or moved out the way by myself. But you did go to all that effort, and I did make it seem like I was in trouble. Besides, a few scratches won't stop me. Naruto had sparred against tougher people than Rays, and he was much stronger than when he fought that wyvern. He propelled himself towards us and used a powerful offensive spell to defeat Rays. That means he could have used his powers to escape. Not to mention he was able to cover his body in darkness to minimize the damage from Pierrot's shadow. Perhaps I did underestimate him. Shibi then stood up. I apologize for my assumption. Then I request that you help Choza out. Pierrot is much stronger than Rays. This made Naruto excited. You can count on me. But first I have to find them. Naruto was then answered by Shibi. From the direction they headed, it would be north of here. Carry on that way and you may find them. Shibi told him. Thanks. And I'll make sure to punch the parrot creep for you. Naruto ran north and only made Shibi sigh. His name is Pierrot. That boy, he is reckless and not the brightest, but he reminds me of you, old friend. Shibi had the image of a familiar person on his mind. The image of Minato Namikaze. Choza versus Pierrot. Hold still. Choza grew in size and was now a giant. However, he could not hit Pierrot due to his shadow form. He was now behind Choza's left ankle. Oh my, Mr. Akamichi, I did not think you would become this angry. Pierrot reemerged from the shadow and summoned several sharp tendrils which pierced Choza's left ankle. Ah, that hurts you little. Choza tried to keep his balance. All you did was make yourself a bigger target. You may have great strength and normally your power is enough, but I am no mere grunt you can push around. Pierrot smiled at Choza's misery, only to feel a force pulling him out of the ground. What Pierrot was pulled out and flung by Choza. Shadow Guard. Pierrot used his shadow too. Summoned tendrils which joined together and formed a sphere around him. This would protect him from Choza's oncoming fist. I'll flatten you. Choza declared and his giant fist hit Pierrot's. Shadow Guard. The sphere hit the ground with splat. Pierrot was back to normal except for some dirt and crack on his mask. That was close. Pierrot moved out of the way from Choza's right foot, which would have no doubt crushed him to death if Choza didn't help back. Let me show you the true power of my shadows. Pierrot saw Chose's right fist come at him, and he created a large shadow spike which pierced Chose's forearm before his fist could hit him. He quickly dissipated the shadow spike before Chose could use his strength to pull out of it. He went back to targeting Chose's ankles. This size isn't helping me. It relies on brute force, and I am too slow to react. Chose's speciality was overpowering his opponent, but Pierrot was a nimble and tactile type fighter. Chose swung his staff instead and slammed it, causing the ground to break and make Pierrot lose his balance. He then quickly turned back into a shadow and traveled through the giant's rocks Chose created. As Pierrot neared Chose and stepped out of his, the man called the Great Yokozuna shrunk back to his regular size and enlarged his left hand to the size of a boulder. He hit a palm strike, making Pierrot fly back. However, Pierrot had used his shadow to defend himself. You know, I'm wondering why you turned up to this town. And why are you leading bandits? Our town hasn't got much to offer in comparison to others, so why? Chose asked the masked person, who stood back up. I see you could tell that I am no ordinary criminal. What gave it away? Pierrot's mask cracked even more, and the left side of it fell, revealing his yellow eyes. A big name like you was a big clue. Shibi told me on how strange and infamous dark wizard like you was coming here. No, you're here for something, or is it someone? Chose glared at him as Pierrot started laughing, almost maniacally. His shadow was moving on its own until it separated from Pierrot, though Chose did not notice this. To test someone. Attacking this town was just a diversion to drag him out. That blonde child, Naruto. He stopped laughing but retained his smirk behind his mask after seeing Chose's shocked expression. And what do you want with him? Chose's eyes narrowed at this. Me? Nothing. Someone he knows wants to test his progress. Of course, destroying this town was just as my subordinates having fun. When he said that, it infuriated Chose. But I did not expect to see someone like you here. I simply thought that this was just a regular town. You are much sharper than your friend Shibi Abiram. Shibi has not been in combat for a long time, but fighting in festivals prevented me from getting rusty. But back to business, you won't get a chance to test Naruto. Chose then noticed that Pierrot's shadow was no longer connected to him. You shadow crap. Chose was too late as he was stabbed in the back and on his knees now. Chose turned and saw Pierrot's shadow. Its silhouette was shaped exactly like Pierrot, and its eyes were simply holes that you could see through the other side. Oh, forgive my rudeness. Meet Shadow Pierrot, he has a mind of his own. Pierrot took out some throwing knives. Now let us end this so I may finish my task. Dark bullet. A voice shouted out and knocked Pierrot's knives out of his hands. Ouch. Who dares? Pierrot and Chose heard the person's voice. Yo. Thanks for making that noise, made it easier to find you. Plus, you know, not many giants here. Thanks for that, old man Chose. Naruto had his right hand in a gun motion. Kid, you shouldn't be here. Chose was worried now. He has no idea why this clown is here. Damn it. He's fallen for his trap. He came here. What splendid luck. And sorry for the shorter chapter, but hopefully you enjoyed this one. Hope everyone had a nice Christmas and a happy new year to everyone too. Also, Reyes was just a test character. Pierrot will be Naruto's first stepping stone, you could say. Naruto could take on Reyes easily, considering he defeated Lee, but Shibi was being too overly cautious. And no, Shibi is simply reminded of Minato and his confidence. You see, Shibi knows Minato and so does Chose, but right now they have not connected the dots completely, mainly because Naruto is different to his father, only sharing a few similarities, like their confidence and fighting spirit. Also, whilst Naruto looks similar to Minato, he does not completely look like him, and his personality is different. Rising darkness. Rising darkness. I'm giving you one chance to surrender or else you lead through a straw. Naruto could feel Pierrot's power and practically see his bloodthirsty expression behind his mask. My big words, little boy. I just defeated Chose Akamichi, an experienced wizard. What makes you think that you can defeat me? Pierrot indeed had a grin behind his mask. You didn't beat me. Our fight isn't over yet. The only way you're getting to this boy is by killing me. Chose wiped his bloody mouth, only for Naruto to place his hand on Chose's shoulder. Sorry, old man Chose, but you're hurt. I beat his friend and I can be paired over here. When Naruto called Pierrot paired again, this annoyed the shadow user. It's Pierrot. Pierrot then realized what he did. My apologies for that contraction. But my dear boy, unlike Reyes, I am far deadlier than he ever could be. Using fancy words won't stop me. Naruto cracked his knuckles, and his eyes briefly glowed. This child. I can sense the power of darkness within him. I can see why you selected me, Master Hades. Pierrot took out a knife and threw it at Naruto. Suddenly, Pierrot's shadow appeared in front of Naruto and almost flattened him. Naruto jumped out of the way, but his left shoulder was stabbed by the same knife Pierrot had thrown just now. Where did that knife come from? Naruto then noticed a smaller shadow retracting back to Pierrot's own shadow. Oh my aim was a little off. I meant to stab you through your head. Pierrot laughed at Naruto's confused expression, which only made Naruto angry. He threw the knife, but his shadow got in its way. Then his knife stabbed me from behind and there was a shadow moving. Naruto analyzed his opponent's ability. He pulled out the knife from his shoulder, putting the knife in his left hand, and doused the shoulder wound with darkness. Kid. He can manipulate his shadow and use it to travel. His knife went into the shadow in front of you, and a piece of his shadow appeared to your side. Choza confirmed Naruto's suspicions. You already had your chance, Choza, so stay out of this. Pierrot shot his hand out, and his shadow headed towards Choza, splitting into several before emerging from the ground to stab Choza. Not on my watch. Naruto threw the knife which was jabbed into his shoulder earlier, and it was covered in darkness. The shadows were sliced by the dark-enhanced knife, with the cut-off parts bursting, and Pierrot's shadow returned to him. He acts fast. He is faster than Choza Akimichi. That could be a problem. Pierrot was no fool. Despite his psychopathic tendencies, he had an analytical mind. His durability is good too, and he is moving his arm around despite his shoulder being stabbed by my knife, which is also doused with a chemical that increases pain tenfold. And he used his darkness magic to cover the wound. He used it to dull the effects of the chemical. Not intentionally but subconsciously. I can see why you wanted me to test him, Hades. Thanks for the info, old man Choza. I saw his shadow move, so all I need to do is avoid it and whatever he throws into it. Naruto then turned his attention back to Pierrot. Big words for someone so young. I can tell that you possess great power and potential, but only if you have the chance to grow. Today is the day you die. Pierrot was not actually going to kill Naruto, but to gauge Naruto's abilities, he had to take him seriously. Play My Hero Academia Lost Iron Battle. Shadow Carnival. Pierrot's shadow stretched in several directions before coming out of the ground, claw-like hands. Crap. Naruto used darkness to boost his jump to the air, with the shadowed hands following him. He can throw his knives through his shadows too. Naruto spun around as he covered his body in darkness again. Dark Drill. Naruto's spell tore through the shadow hands. His darkness can tear through my shadows. And he covered his entire body with darkness. I cannot have him shadow travel either. This is most troublesome. Pierrot witnessed Naruto head towards him. Your spell is powerful, boy, however. Pierrot blended with his shadow into the ground to escape it, with Naruto hitting the ground and formed a large crater, alongside a smoke screen. These two. Naruto's already stronger than I was at his age, there's no doubt about that, but I don't know if he can beat Pierrot by himself. Choza was in deep thought. I made a mistake in challenging Pierrot in my giant form. Pierrot used it to his advantage, and I can't even help the kid. But if I can land at least one attack, then Pierrot won't stand a chance. Choza was nursing his wound and simply focused on recovering, waiting for a chance to attack Pierrot when the opportunity presents itself. Pierce. Pierrot pointed his finger at Naruto, who was defenseless after his spell dispelled. Shadows moved swiftly to pierce Naruto, but could only pierce Naruto's other shoulder and left leg. Pierrot then motioned his hand to forcefully pull Naruto towards him, using his shadow tendrils. Now brat, let us end this. Pierrot took out a knife and held it in his other hand. I'm not going down this easy. Naruto had darkness cover his right hand, landed a hit on Pierrot's face, who was sent flying. The shadow tendrils released Naruto, and the blonde hit the dirt, blood leaking from his new wounds. Send. This brat is getting on my nerves. Pierrot was disorientated and part of his mask broke, which he covered with his left hand. I'm bleeding. And I just used a contraction. You're underestimating me, bastard. Something as weak as your shadows won't faze me. Naruto did grunt in pain slightly, but he stood back up. Weak. Pierrot removed his hand from his face, revealing a scarred man with brown hair and long face. I wasn't going to kill you, but I'm sure my employer won't mind if you're gravely injured. Your employer? Naruto was surprised at that piece of information. Choza finally managed to speak up about what he learned earlier. Before he got here, he mentioned that he came here to test your progress for somebody. Choza could not stand up. If this was 20. No, even 10 years ago, I could have recovered much quicker. Choza gritted his teeth. Sorry, but whatever you and your boss want with me, I ain't interested, you masked pervert. Naruto calling him a pervert just made the jester's eyes widen into comical proportions. It's not like that. Pierrot's shadow split from him to form shadow. Pierrot. Another contraction, it doesn't matter now. I can't withstand another attack, so I'll keep my distance. Master Hades, I will keep him alive, but I'll bring him back broken. What's with the shadow? It looks exactly like him. Oh crap. Naruto noticed that Shadow Pierrot was much swifter than Pierrot himself. And it formed into a circle around 5 meters from Naruto. It emerged and whipped Naruto with a shadow tendril from its right hand, scratching Naruto's left cheek. Naruto then tried to shoot Shadow Pierrot by focusing a beam of darkness from his index and middle finger, only for Shadow Pierrot to retreat into the shadow. Your injuries are finally slowing you down. In fact, most grown men would already pass out. I guess whoever trained you must have been harsh. Pierrot knew Hades was powerful, and had no doubt that he helped Naruto with his training. You and I are the same. We both suffered at the hand of others. For me, my old employers treated me worse than a dog on a leash just because they were rich in nobility. I gained power and used it to rid myself of them. We ain't nothing alike. You like hurting people because you think it's fun. Naruto sounded childish to Pierrot. He does not understand what it means to be part of a dark guild yet. So young and so naive. Pierrot chuckled to himself silently. Trust me, brat, someday you will enjoy inflicting pain. Those who are shrouded in darkness all succumb to it. Or do you not want to find and kill the man who murdered your father? How do you know that? Naruto was getting angrier, some darkness forming slowly on his body. My employer didn't spare any details about you. How you are just a boy who misses his daddy. Pierrot kept adding fuel to the fire that was Naruto's rage. Pierrot's shadow repeated its attacks, slashing Naruto's back with the blonde hissing in pain. Naruto then shot a shadow Pierrot again, only for it to retreat into the shadow once more. Pierrot's shadow repeated this hit and run tactic. If Pierrot had stopped talking and not enraged Naruto, he would have won. Yes. Suffer, you stupid brat. Pierrot did not realize that he was simply adding fuel to the fire, as Naruto's body gave off a dark glow. What's wrong? Where's the bravado from earlier? Worried you going to die, Soyo? Silence. Naruto released an explosion of darkness which blasted through Shadow Pierrot's attack and dissipated the entire shadow, forcing it to return to Pierrot, and released a shockwave. Pierrot was sent flying back, but Choza punched the ground and held on slightly until he was also blasted back. He attacked in all directions and took out Shadow Pierrot. Hades, you bastard. You knew that I would underestimate this child. His rage is fearsome. Pierrot was weak and tired. You pushed me for a child and made me use contractions with your annoying attitude. You win this battle, but we will meet again, brat. Pierrot used the last of his strength to merge with his shadow and slither away. However, Naruto shot a blast of darkness at the shadow, which forcefully ejected Pierrot from his shadow. Why you damned br? Pierrot was hit by a punch from Naruto, who used a dark blast on his feet to land the punch. Why you broke my no. Naruto did not let Pierrot speak and punched him repeatedly. Choza stood up and saw Naruto being covered in dark ore. Kid. Stop it. You gonna kill him. Choza called out to Naruto, who stopped after hearing that. His dark aura receded, and he looked at Pierrot's bruised and bloodied face. I let my anger get the best of me. Naruto got up and limped towards Choza. Chaha. I knew it. Pierrot was still conscious, albeit barely. The darkness in your heart is strong. You have potential, the potential to become the strongest user of darkness I have ever seen. Pierrot stood up and shadows danced around his body. But I've decided that you cannot be allowed to live. Your orders be damned, old man. Pierrot sent as many shadow spikes as he could. Not today. Choza enlarged his right hand and used it to propel himself. He then pulled back his left, enlarging it after his right hand turned back to normal. Go flying. Choza hit Pierrot dead on with his open palm and sent him flying. Curse you. Pierrot exclaimed as his shadows dissipated before they could reach Naruto. Looks like I owe you, old man. Choza. Naruto gave a tired smile before he fainted. Looks like he's finally out. This kid will be a monster when grows up. Choza smiled and took out a spherical lacrima. Better call for help, I can't move until my leg is treated. With Lee's group. Father, are you alright? Shino asked his father, who luckily did not have major injuries. Shino was joined by Choji and Lee. Yes. Your new friend Naruto defeated Raiz. He is quite powerful despite his age. Shibi commented, which got a cry of happiness from Lee. Of course, he must be if he is to be my boss. So youthful. Lee's outburst made the other two step away from him. Suddenly, a noise came out of nowhere, making all three boys jump and ready to fight. Calm down, it's just a communication lacrima Choza I have on my person. Shibi told them and took out a lacrima that was exactly like the one Choza had. It's a good thing I gave Choza a communication lacrima in case. Shibi saw that is was Choza and was alleviated. When Choza explained what happened. With Pierrot. The good thing I used my shadows to cushion my fall. Pierrot took a beating and was breathing heavily. You went too far, you pathetic clown. A voice called out and made Pierrot look around to locate the source of the voice. It was an older Altier, and she looked angry. Your contract was only to test him and leave him alive. You tried to kill him. Her voice was cold. Why you? You're the girl that was with Hades. Pierrot was fearful, he had no strength left and knew from that expression, Altier was dangerous. My name is Altier, but you don't need to remember that. Not where you're going at least. Altier had an orb in her hand. It floated towards Pierrot. Wait. I know I went against the contract, but he's technically alive. I in fact consider this job free of charge. Pierrot was attacked before he could finish his sentence. With Naruto, a few days later. Eat up everyone. Naruto was bandaged up, but he was well enough to cook for everyone. Everyone began eating, with the group praising Naruto. This is good, kid. If you ever want to retire from wizardry, you're more than welcome to be a chef here. Choza just devoured a chicken leg. Yeah. This is good meat. Choji took another bite of his food. Even Shibi and Shino, the most stoic of the group, enjoyed their meal greatly. Lee just kept going on about how youthful Naruto's cooking was. Well, I've had a lot of practice. And thanks for the offer, I'll have to get back to you on that one, but I must do something first. Naruto's expression turned serious, and he looked around the table. I see. Well, you're always welcome here. Choza told him with a sincere smile, and they all continued their celebration. Outside the restaurant. Master Hades, I believe Naruto found his new teammates. 2 of them were the sons of former military personnel. And a boy with weird eyebrows. An older Altier spoke through her orb. I see. Do they have potential? Hades was on the other line and was curious to hear about the Naruto's potential teammates' talents. Potential is a strong word. One is named Shino Aburum, and he controls insects, but is limited in combat. The other is called Choji Akimichi, and needs to maintain calories to use his magic, able to change his size. But the last one is Naruto's first recruit Rock Lee. His magic relies on his physical abilities, but something is strange about him. Altier gave a brief explanation about Naruto's potential teammates. Those surnames are familiar. Yes, Orochimaru mentioned them being Minato Namikaze's old friends, and they all enlisted in the military together. But I am worried about their connection to the Magic Council. That Lee boy, though, I know nothing of him. Hades told Altier with some curiosity laced in his tone. Well, once I infiltrate the Magic Council and become a member, that should not be a problem. Altier exclaimed. But if Naruto's new comrades find out they're part of a dark guild, there will be complications. They don't seem to be the type to join a lawless guild. What shall I do if they refuse? Then they're simply dead. Wait, take Naruto out of there if he gets in trouble, and you may dispose of them any way you wish. He has great potential which we cannot waste. But I also have good news. Soon we will have enough members to form the Seven Kin. Hades replied to her and had a hidden smirk. Understood, Master Hades. Altier shut off the lacrima and looked at Naruto. Please don't do anything reckless, Naruto. Unknown location. Jiraiya. You need to eat. You're getting obsessed with that book, so put it away before I punch you. Again. Tsunade appeared behind Jiraiya, who was still researching the Book of Betrayal. Sorry. I'll put it away. Jiraiya closed the book and rubbed his eyes. This book has a lot of information. Orochimaru was interested in it, and after researching it, I can see why. Well, it's better than your previous research. Tsunade glared at him and made the white-haired man chuckle nervously. But seriously, you've been out of it for a while. You should take a break and more importantly, take a bath. Tsunade covered her nose with her hand. Will you wash me? Jiraiya said perversely, only to stop as Tsunade glared at him after breaking the wall next to her. And never mind. I'll join you for lunch. Lunch was hours ago. Now get your butt moving. Tsunade pointed to the door, as if Jiraiya was a teenager. That book gives me the creeps. Tsunade left the room. Both wizards did not see the book give out a dark miasma briefly. And sorry for the delay, I am working on improving my timing, though it can be difficult since I work more than one job now. I will be working on a few more chapters for this story before going back to Fairy Tail. Bonds. Now, I kind of wrote myself into a little corner as Naruto is a dark wizard and his new friends aren't, but I have thought of a few ways I can write that into my story. Just debating what would be the best way. Chaotic. Chaotic. Okay kid, you got all of us here. What is it that you wanted to tell us? Choza asked Naruto, who looked at them seriously. It's about the offer I made to your sons and you too, Lee. Naruto prepared himself mentally and plotted an escape route before he said his words. I'm part of a dark guild called Grimoire Heart. ERX 782. How is the progress for Project Nobody? Hades asked Orochimaru, who was looking at a large watery tube in front of them. I have stabilized the subject, but it needs more power. More essence of darkness. Orochimaru replied to Grimoire Heart's master, not taking his eyes off the tube in front of him. I see. Naruto's group is still on a mission, a very dangerous one. Let's hope that the spies on his team won't interfere with the operation. Hades commented and looked at the tube again. This is the 10th subject, correct? Yes. I labeled this one Subject X. Not only does it mean 10, but it also refers to the unknown. Because I have a feeling this one shall be an unknown variable in the future. Orochimaru was impressed with his own contribution to this project. A feeling? That is unlike you, usually you only have expectations. Hades chuckled a little. But your study of alchemy has been a help to you. I must visit again Galtina someday. Yes, alchemy is truly remarkable. Orochimaru was fixated on his work and knew the Project Nobody would be his greatest creation. He really needs to get his ego in check. Well, Subject 10 is progressing nicely, but what have you done with the previous subjects? Hades looked at Orochimaru, who merely had a look of disgust. What would you do with trash? I disposed of them. Well, most of them anyway. Subject 9 is still in the basement. Subject 9's failure helped with Subject X creation, but I have no use for it for Project Nobody. Orochimaru told Hades with complete certainty. But perhaps I can use it as a future host if Subject X is off limits. I see. I'll take subject 9 off your hands. Do you have any objections? Hades asked Orochimaru in a menacing tone, with the latter simply giving a stoic look at the old wizard, before turning his attention back at the tube. None. Orochimaru already had another contingency for his body. I am glad that I prepared a new body just in case and away from the old man's prying eye. I will be free of the curse you placed on me, and I will gain powers beyond you. Orochimaru, you are genius, but so my once project nobody is complete, you can do whatever you want. The ultimate magical world will be within our reach. Hades also began to think about the other 2 dark guilds that have gained prominence and are considered Grimoire Heart's equals. Orochimaru, before I go, I want to ask if you would accompany me to the Balam Alliance meeting. I can see why you would ask me. The Ration says has dangerous individuals, and Brain himself is powerful. And let's not forget that we do not have much information on Tartaros. Orochimaru was contemplating on going, if only to see the power of the ones that were in charge of the guilds who possess power comparable to Grimoire Heart. I accept. Is there anyone else who will accompany us? Blue Note, of course. Hades replied, making even Orochimaru surprised by this revelation. Why not Ultier or Zuma? Blue Note may be a bit unstable. Orochimaru knew Blue Note was perhaps the most destructive of Grimoire Heart and a monster in his own right. Because Ultier is still infiltrating the Magic Council and Azuma in on a mission. Besides, with you and I there, we can control Blue Note. Hades himself is the strongest member of Grimoire Heart, and Orochimaru is a former wizard saint, both magical geniuses. They could handle Blue Note from going rampage. There's more that you're letting on. Who are you worried about? The Ration says or Tartaros? Orochimaru questioned and was answered by a small laugh. Tartaros, of course. They're the real threat considering its members are demons. Hades told Orochimaru, who was surprised by this. When you mean demons, do you mean actual demons? Orochimaru was intrigued, meeting demons, creatures that he has not seen for a while, and potential test subjects. Yes. The members of Tartaros are comprised of real demons. But not just any demons, they are demons from the Book of Zeref. Hades only made Orochimaru more curious. Then I shall join you. I'm more than capable of filling for Blue Note, do you not agree? Orochimaru asked the old wizard, who then nodded his head once. Fine. But don't cause a fight. Hades turned around and attempted to leave. You only use Blue Note as a way to get me to come without asking me to come. Orochimaru was not an idiot, he could have been forced to come, but Hades had a habit of manipulating his subordinates as a small form of entertainment. I'm going to kill Naruto. The boy is a bad influence on you, with all due respect. Perhaps, but I do enjoy messing with you. Or would you rather I use my power to force you to go instead? When Orochimaru was silent, Hades laughed a little. Speaking of the boy, when will you tell him that 2 of his subordinates are spies for the Magic Council? Orochimaru and Hades both knew that amongst Naruto's team, 2 members in particular only joined to give the Magic Council information on Grimoire Heart. The mission I have sent them on should deal with them. And their fathers will not be an issue. You must understand, Naruto, you are an important piece of Grimoire Heart. Those 2 spies, however, are expendable. Unknown location. Choji. Shrink yourself back down now. Shino, who had grown taller and wore a hoodie. He used his bugs to hold back purple skeletal monsters. Choji, who now looked a lot like his father, wearing similar armor, and was able to change his size just like Chozen now. But just like his father, he made himself a bigger target. Choji was hit by a few purple beams from the monsters, but used the last of his strength to take out the monsters with one last punch, before reverting to normal size and panting heavily. Damn it. Where's Lee? Or Naruto? Shino was now by Choji's side. Lee is engaging Kamimaro Kagai in combat, but even with his abilities, Kamimaro is powerful. Shino was at his limit himself. We have a moment to breathe, but we're not going to last if more of those things show up. Choji did not have any strength left to use his spells, but attempted to get back up. What about Naruto? He's fighting the demon that's controlling these monsters. With Naruto, One Piece Ostriki's entrance. Come on. Naruto had grown much taller, his hair much spikier and his voice deeper. He wore a white tank top with a red spiral on it, black pants, and black boots. He had a brown strap diagonally over his top which had a small holder on the back. In his hand was a broadsword shaped like a butcher knife. He was now standing on top of the arm of a giant monster, which looked like a bulkier version of the smaller creatures Choji and Shino fought. The monster lifted its other arm to attack Naruto, only for Naruto to smirk and jump out of the way by channeling darkness into his feet, using the darkness to propel himself. The monster hit its own arm and tore it off. Ouch. That's gotta hurt. Naruto then performed a forward roll with his weapon, channeling darkness into it. I call this attack Dark Execution. Buzzsaw. Naruto tore through the giant creature's head and went through its entire body, splitting it in half. The creature's remains wilted until it became dust. Nice. I can use this sword efficiently now. I hope the guys are okay. I'll send, with Lee. You're not half bad. But you cannot defeat me. Kamimaro Kagaya was a tall boy, older than Rock Lee, and has bones protruding from his body. Some were already broken, no doubt thanks to Lee. Lee was taller and wore a green sleeveless bodysuit, but had a light green vest over it. He had orange leg warmers and white bandages on his hands. Your magic increases your physical attributes, but your body must be conditioned for it. In other words, you train in order to become stronger, and you use up stamina and magic power by using the primary lotus technique of yours. Play Naruto as beautiful green beast. Then I shall show you that the hidden lotus blooms twice. Lee crossed his arms and his skin turned red, his hair waved upwards, and his body covered in ore. His eyes were also completely white, with some veins popping out. He undid his bandages. This form I have to use my demonic Po. Kamimaro was punched by Lee, who moved much faster than Kamimaro could react. I've been much too lax with this one, and let my guard down for a moment. Kamimaro's face and body had marks starting to appear. I cannot afford to waste even a second against this man. I will end this fight and return to my friends Naruto. I still need to defeat you. Every hit, only little movement was wasted. Lee repeatedly kicked Kamimaro until he was in the air. Lee was now behind Kamimaro. Them had a hidden smirk as Lee wrapped his bandages around the older boy. This is the end. Hidden Lotus. Lee spun rapidly with Kamimaro and his heads aiming towards the ground. They both hit the ground, causing a crater and dust cloud. Send. Lee was on the ground, his left shoulder and right leg were wounded heavily, with blood leaking out of them. He was being stomped on by Kamimaro, whose skin became a shen gray and he appeared more demonic. He reverted back to his human form a few seconds after. If I hadn't created more bones in this state when I was wrapped by those bandages, I wouldn't have escaped his technique. I was saving this form for your leader, but I must commend you for pushing me this far. Kamimaro had a bone protrude from shoulder until he grabbed it with his right hand and bowled out a sharp bone. Dark shot. Kamimaro was shot by a dark blast from his left side and sent flying back. Naruto had arrived at Lee's aid with his right hand stretching out, indicating that he sent the blast to Kamimaro. Well, that was easy. You okay, Lee? Naruto walked towards Lee and carefully helped him up. I'm sorry. I underestimated him and he beat me. Lee was disappointed in himself, but he was suddenly hit on the head by Naruto. Ouch. What was that for? Lee held his head with his hands. You're taking your loss too hard. You're alive and that's all that matters. Naruto's words hit Lee, and he began to cry tears of joy. However, before Lee could say anything, Naruto grabbed him and used his sword to block some projectiles. Hey, watch it. That blade. The Kubikira Bachor, simple known as the Executioner's Blade. That belonged to Zabuza Mamachi, the Mist Demon. It was said to be lost after his final fight with Kakashi Haddock, but recovered by one of his apprentices, Sujetsu Hazuki. You defeated him, didn't you? Kamimaro was the one who shot the projectiles, using the bones from his fingers. That with the sharp teeth and turn into water. Yeah, I did. He was tough, but nothing I couldn't handle. I can sense his demonic power. Orochimaru mentioned how he took in some kids and gave them demon blood. He even showed me the corpse of the demon he took the blood from. Naruto was wary of Orochimaru over anyone else he encountered despite being in the same guild. And let me guess, you used to work for Orochimaru. I am impressed. May I ask how you are privy to this information? Kamimaro did not expect for Naruto to know this piece of information. Orochimaru showed me the demon corpse he took the blood from. Told me all about how he gave a bunch of kids its blood to give them a power-up. I don't agree with what he did, but that doesn't mean you can make other people miserable just because you hate him. Naruto thought that Kamimaro had a grudge against Orochimaru, but that couldn't be further from the truth. My Hero Academia. World Heroes Mission Us fight against the strong. Ha 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 ha. Kamimaro gave a small laugh until it became full-blown laughter. Hate him. I live only for Lord Orochimaru. Kamimaro was first to move, bringing out curved bones from his palms. Skull. Crosser. Kamimaro made a crossing motion with his bone blades, aiming to cut Naruto down, only for said person to block it with his weapon. You wanna fight? Let's fight. Naruto outlined the executioner's blade with darkness to prevent Kamimaro from destroying it. Darkness. That explains how the executioner's blade is not shattering in front of me. Kamimaro did not expect a burst emanate from the sword and send him backwards. Kamimaro was already beginning to change back into his demonic form. He's using his demonic power now. Naruto was not afraid of Kamimaro. In fact, he looked excited to fight the demonic-looking opponent. I won't lose. I'll have to use that power. Naruto's body had black marks made from his darkness form around him, except his darkness had a crimson aura to it instead of blue, and his eyes became red. His power is greater than his comrades. Kamimaro could see that Naruto was powerful for his age. My task was to kill his comrades, not fight him. Kamimaro summoned curved bones from his left forearm until they merged to create a bone drill. Bones should not bend that way. Naruto swung a darkness-enhanced executioner's blade, colliding with Kamimaro's drill. Sparks were formed as both combatants kept up their attack, both their weapons starting to crack. Okay, I don't think we both can keep this up. Naruto then decreased the amount of power he was pouring into the executioner's blade, leading Okamimuro gaining the advantage, but the blonde channeled darkness into his feet to blast himself upwards, gaining momentum and ending their collision by forcing Kamimuro's drill to face the air, disorienting Kamimuro. The executioner's blade was spinning up and cut through the bone drill, being released into the air. Ah, send. He let go of his sword just to destroy my bones, but I can summon more. Kamimuro did not expect Naruto to come closer. Fool. Getting close to me will out you within my range. Kamimuro released bones from his body, but Naruto powered through, allowing his left arm and right leg to get pierced. He's powering through. And what is that? Kamimuro saw that Naruto formed a sphere in his hand. This sphere, it's dangerous. This is the spell Gramps taught me. He called it Rasengan. Naruto aimed his Rasengan for Kamimuro's torso, but the skull demon was not giving up so easily, as he created skeletal armor, but he was still hit by Naruto's spell. I can't hold out much longer. Kamimuro's armor broke and he was sent flying back by a vortex caused by the Rasengan. I was only a test subject. Kamimuro realized that he was only sent to test Naruto's abilities. At least I was of use to you, Lord Orochimaru. Kamimuro reverted back to his normal form and was knocked out by Naruto's attack. And Naruto is amazing. Lee witnessed the battle from the sidelines, nursing his wounds. Lee then saw Naruto's weapon landing in front of him. Naruto no on one knee, breathing a little heavier than usual. Lee? Naruto called out to his friend. Let's find Choji and Shino, then get out of this place. He lives for Orochimaru. Something fishy is going on. 2 days later, with Hades and Orochimaru. Kamimuro lost. I did not expect the boy to beat Kamimuro of all people. Orochimaru knew Kamimuro was strong, and to beat him was no small feat to him. Do not worry Kamimuro, you shall have your vengeance soon. As soon as I gain what I need for Subject X. Orochimaru did not care for Kamimuro, only that Naruto would no longer be a factor. Naruto has accessed more of his power, but I fear that he will lose control. Hades had an image of Naruto looking more monstrous. Then we better get on with the plan and tie up loose ends. After our meeting, of course. Orochimaru walked forward and entered the cave, where people were already waiting for them. You're the last one to arrive, Hades. A man with markings on his face and a staff in his hand spoke. This is Brain, the leader of the Eurasian Says, and next to him is a sleeping young man codenamed Midnight. My apologies, but we were running late. Hades simple stated as he looked at Tartaro's representatives, Margir and Keys. Well, now that you are here, we can begin. Margir spoke in a bored tone, wanting this meeting over with. Unknown location. They had this monster as a member of their guild. Shibi was breathing heavily and had near fatal wounds. Do you fly? A tall man with his hair in a ponytail asked his beaten enemies. This included a barely alive Choza Akamichi. The man had defeated them and their whole platoon with ease. This man is Linode Stinger, one of Grimoire Heart's strongest members. See Choji. I'm sorry. Choza regretted allowing his son to become a spy for them, as did Shibi. And Naruto, I'm sorry. But I hope you leave Grimoire Heart and find your way. Choza had a smile on his face. And sorry for the very long delay, but I have been really busy and felt that I wrote myself into a corner. Now at that point of time, Naruto is usually honest, and that's why he revealed the truth that Grimoire Heart is a dark guild too. Choza and Shibi. Instead of them taking Naruto into the Magic Council, they used the information to keep tabs on Grimoire Heart, which would have succeeded if not for Altier's interference as a council member. Before you ask, Kamimuro will return, and Naruto's dark magic has special properties to it. I may also do one more chapter of this story before I write a few chapters for Fairy Tail. Bonds. Betrayal. Betrayal. It is agreed then, we shall stay out of each other's way and avoid confrontation. This concludes our meeting. Please excuse us, we have some business to attend. Hades ended the meeting and left with Orochimaru. Brain and Midnight left afterwards. Talking to those humans was nauseating. Keys, let us go and you can tell me Silver's progress. Margir got up and left with Keys. Of course, master. Keys replied with a small bow to Margir. 1 week later, with Naruto. Excellent form Naruto. You're learning the strong fists well. Lee taught some of his fighting techniques to Naruto in case there came a time he could not rely on his darkness magic. Thanks. But I'm still nowhere near as good as you, but it'll come handy in a pinch. Naruto replied, with Lee offering his hand to Naruto to help him up, which Naruto gladly accepted. Still, I believe this will make it more difficult for me when we spar next time. Lee admitted to his blunder, but he was excited to fight Naruto again. Well, I already kicked your butt so many times without it. But I appreciate you helping me out with this. Naruto then looked at the other two, who were on the ground. You two. On your feet. Naruto kicked Choji and Shino, making them jump up in pain and they landed on the ground. Why did you kick us? Choji and Shino rubbed the spots that Naruto kicked. The two were in some serious trouble on our last mission. We need to level you guys up again before our next mission. Naruto explained, but he did not say why he had to specifically kick them. No? I mean, why did you have to kick us? You could have been gentler with your approach. Shino got up, still rubbing the spot he was kicked on. Because you and Choji wouldn't get up otherwise. Sorry if it hurt, but it'll help you in the long run. Increase your tolerance for pain. Was Naruto's reply, only frightening his two teammates. But we have a mission to do. So, rest up for the next 2 days and we'll head out. Naruto left with Lee, leaving Choji and Shino on their own. He's being tougher on us than usual. Choji looked at Shino with sad eyes. Guess seeing us hurt has him on edge. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Shino. Choji looked at the bespectacled boy. Naruto cares about us and does not have bad intentions. However, Grimoire Heart is a different story. We are comrades and when our mission is complete, we will make sure that he is granted amnesty by the council. Lee too. Shino knows that they all have a bond, but also knew that Naruto was misguided. Even though Shino was right, he also did not realize that certain members of the magical council had their own plans. First let's get through this mission and then it will be over soon. Choji and Shino went to their rooms to rest, not knowing that they were in for 2 days later, unknown mountains. Seriously. Why were we sent to find a flower? The only thing dangerous about this was walk here. Choji did not like walking long distances, but in truth he did not walk because Lee carried him most of the way to their destination. Quit complaining. You didn't have to walk because Lee carried you here. Lee, drop him. Naruto ordered the green-clad boy, who did so. Okay, all we need to do is find the flower. Shino, what was it called again? It's called the blue spider lily. It has special properties, one that could provide a potent recovery potion or even one that enhances the user's magic tenfold. Naruto told Choji. Naruto was able to learn how to conjure potions in his years with Grimoire Heart. His culinary skills helped make it simpler for him, and he has since become an expert in making potions. Of course, Naruto was still dense at times, but his time in Grimoire Heart helped him out greatly. I have researched this flower too. It is extremely rare and so far, only one has been discovered, and that was nearly 100 years ago. It is also strange that we were told to convene here. I'm sure Naruto has noticed that the blue spider lily could not possibly be found so easily. Shino began to think that Grimoire Heart sent them to these mountains for another reason. I don't think we'll find it here, but we have to try. Naruto was distracted long enough to be suddenly wrapped by a chain. A trap. Before Naruto could break free, he was pulled away from the others. Naruto. All three went after him, only for black flames to prevent them from pursuing Naruto. These flames. Zankro. Shino summoned a bug wall to block another fire blast from Zankro, who appeared behind the trio. Ha. Not bad, bug boy. But that was a warning shot, and you won't be able to block next time. Zankro had a vicious grin. Why are you attacking us? We're from the same guild. Choji exclaimed, only to be met with a cruel laugh. You think we don't know that you guys were giving our enemies information about our guild? Master Hades knows everything. Zankro laughed at their expressions, especially Lee's. Is this true, my friends? Lee looked at the other two, both could not meet his gaze. I see. Zankro, despite their actions, allow Naruto and I to deal with them. We're responsible for them after all. Lee, despite feeling betrayed by his teammates, remained calm. Lee himself had doubts being a part of a dark guild, but he has faith in Naruto, and despite just finding out that his other two teammates were spies, he still had bonds with them. Sorry, but Master Hades wants all of you dead. Grimoire Heart doesn't need people who don't have what it takes, that includes your boss. Zankro angered Lee by saying this. Hey. We were the ones who gave information to the Magic Council. Naruto and Lee have nothing to do with it. Choji became defensive and was ready to fight if need be. That's just it, they too are soft-hearted. A humanoid goat appeared and kicked Shino. Capricorn. Shino skidded back before rebounding and is back on his feet. Lee was quick enough to react from an explosion. You're here too, Azuma. Lee did not expect him, but now he knew that they could not hold back. Choji, Shino. If we survive this, we'll talk. Lee took on Azuma, Shino faced off against Capricorn, and finally it was Choji versus Zankro. With Naruto. Naruto was still being pulled by the chain until he landed on the ground, and the chain undid itself from him. Ouch. Who did that? He then looked around and saw he was on the lower levels of the mountains. I did, you stupid brat. Hades emerged with a stern expression. Naruto did not expect to his guild master here. Gramps, what are you doing here? Naruto did not get the response he expected, as Hades shot a magic bullet from his fingertips at him, which Naruto barely dodged. I'm disappointed in you, Naruto. You did not notice that the Akimichi and Aburami boys were spies for the Magic Council. Hades surprised Naruto by saying this. That's why they've been acting strange. I should have known something was up. Naruto could recall the two acting weird several times. I'm sorry, Gramps, I'll bring them in, and we'll throw them in the dungeon. Unfortunately, Hades was in no mood to humor Naruto this time. I'm afraid that's not enough. I understand that you do not want to hurt those who you consider friends. That is why the kin shall deal with those traitors. When Hades mentioned kin, Naruto knew who he was referring to. Gramps, please tell me that you didn't send all of them to kill my team. Naruto saw that Hades' expression did not change. And what about Lee? Even if Shino and Choji are traitors, I know Lee is loyal. Indeed. But he will choose to save those two and is more loyal to you than this guild. And unlike you, he is not important to achieve our goals. Hades had an internal smirk at seeing Naruto tense up. We'll talk later, Gramps. Naruto turned around and attempted to head back to his team, only for a magic bullet to pass the left side of his head. I don't want to fight you, Gramps, but I will if I have to. Your rebellious phase is beginning to irk me, Naruto. I will show you your place this time. Hades motioned for Naruto to come at him. Naruto knew that he couldn't run away easily and gripped his weapon, his eyes turning red and marks forming into his body. Ah yes, his malice is empowering his darkness magic. Seeing the death of his friends will push him to the edge, and we can enact a plan. Hades and Naruto began to fight. Choji vs Zankro. Choji was now skinny and now had butterfly wings made from blue ore. However, despite his increase in speed and strength, Zankro still possessed more power than him, and his magic was far more destructive than Choji's. Zankro had formed a scythe made from his flames and swung it against Choji. I might have to grow and use all my strength in one blow, but I can't let myself be hit by that. I hope the others are okay. Unfortunately, they too are struggling in their battles. Shino vs Capricorn. You cannot defeat me in hand-to-hand combat. Capricorn was cornering Shino, but Shino would not give up. No, not in this form. He is somehow weakening me to the point of toying with me. Capricorn is a celestial spirit, but celestial spirits cannot stay along in the human world for too long. I must use takeover. Shino's body was covered in light, and his body began to change, enough to grab Capricorn's leg when he attempted to strike Shino. You have forced me to use this form, I shall not be responsible for what happens. Shino tossed Capricorn away from him, thought the latter managed to rebound. A mantis. Capricorn saw Shino's new form. He now stood around 7 feet, his body extremely skinny, and he looked like a humanoid mantis. Take over magic. I see that I cannot hold back anymore. You're going to fall here. Shino moved with great agility and speed, his hands becoming curved blades. Capricorn jumped away, starting to go on the defensive. He isn't allowing me to summon my warriors. If only my magic power was greater, I could use Capricorn's full power. Capricorn then jumped up, only for Shino to easily follow. You cannot escape me. Shino managed to cut Capricorn, who managed to summon 2 fighters on his behalf to attack Shino. But Shino was much quicker and slashed them, forcing them to disappear. Capricorn used this chance to land a kick, sending Shino back, but the insectoid rebounded from this. Such power. He's more of a mantis than human. Wait. I could use my magic to take over his body, and I can regain a human appearance. Behind Capricorn, a mental image of a human man appeared. Rock Lee vs Azuma. Yes. Show me your power, Lee. Azuma was excited to see Lee hold his own against him. His battle with Kimimura made him stronger. If they were to battle again, then Lee would be the victor this time. Azuma was not going all out, but he was enjoying their battle. He took a few hits, but was not majorly injured. If this was any other time, I would enjoy this, but I shall be the victor. Lee took a few hits himself, but he was holding his own for now. Back with Naruto. Damn it. Naruto was panting heavily, and his sword was stabbed into the ground with Naruto still gripping the handle. Naruto was bruised and had blood dripping down the left side of his mouth. Give up, Naruto. I'm not even using my full power, and you are 100 years too early to defeat me. Hades did not have a scratch on him. Hades did not show it, but he felt sadness at what he was doing. I'm sorry, Naruto, but for Grimoire Heart to succeed, you must die here. Hades was about to blast Naruto until they both heard screaming. Ag. Choji. Naruto could recognize the screams of his teammate, having been in several battles with him and the others. Naruto turned around and tried to run back towards his teammates, only for a snake construct to emerge from the ground. You. Orochimaru appeared, his smirking face only serving to anger Naruto. It's rude to glare at your seniors, young Naruto. Orochimaru then looked at Hades. Stop playing with his emotions, Master Hades, and tell him the truth. That it didn't matter if he had chosen Grimoire Heart. Orochimaru. Stop talking. Hades demanded, trying to keep his calm. Naruto was confused by Orochimaru's words. Wait. What do you mean by that? Why didn't it matter? Naruto demanded, the marks from his fight with Kimimura reappearing and his eyes going completely red. Exactly what it means. You think Grimoire Heart cares about you? Ever since that incident, all we want is your hidden power. That malicious darkness you possess. Orochimaru then yelled in pain and was on one knee now. I told you that's enough. Hades' right hand formed a sign, indicating that he was the cause of Orochimaru's pain. I shall deal with your insubordination later, Orochimaru. Hades released Orochimaru from the pain. My darkness magic. Naruto realized it. This new form I'm using, it makes my attack stronger, but then I start losing myself to it. Was I just a pawn? Naruto didn't wait for an answer because he blasted the ground and caused a smoke screen. You won't escape. Hades caused a shockwave to blow away the smoke, only to find Naruto gone. He's improved. But he won't save his friends. Hades then glared at the grinning Orochimaru. Damn you, you're lucky that I still require your assistance. Back with Choji. AGHHHH. Choji had grown in size in his butterfly mode, but it only made him an easier target for Zankro to burn. Choji could not hold his form and shrunk back down, his wings dissipating. Hahaha. You're really weak, you know that. I could have turned you to ash ages ago, but I wanted to play with you a little bit more. Zankro then noticed that Choji wasn't breathing. Guess you're the first to die. Naruto is gonna flip. Zankro gave a chilling laugh. Back with Lee. Come on Lee. Use your full power. Azuma wrapped Lee in branches, with the latter struggling to move. I wanted to conserve my strength, but I can't lose here. Lee's skin tone changed and he was covered in ore. He broke through the branches with ease and rushed towards Azuma, who jumped out of the way. Let's see how far you can reach Lee. Azuma and Lee clashed one last time. Back with Shino. Your body is mine. Capricorn grabbed Shino's shoulder and both were covered in a glow. A dark shadow came out of Capricorn's body and entered Shino's. I see he took over Capricorn's body, and now he's taking mine over. Shino was taken over by the force which controlled Capricorn. The force did not realize that Shino was able to summon insects which attached themselves to Capricorn. This feels just right. Shino's voice was distorted for a second until it became normal. Thanks a lot for using takeover, I haven't had a human form for a while. Shino's mantis body was spasming. Your magic allowed you to take over my body because I am not a human. And whilst Lord Shino is not in human form currently, he is still a human. Capricorn was in control of his own actions. How are you moving? You should have been drained of P-power. Shino's body was reverting back his human form. Lord Shino managed to summon a few bugs and transferred some of his magic power to me. It's a shame it has to end this way, Lord Zoldio, but you committed the ultimate taboo with your magic by taking over my body. Capricorn told his former owner. You do not see Calmy Titha Zoldio was hit by a powerful blow, which reverted Shino back to his human form completely and released the dark shadow from earlier, revealing Zoldio in his frail human form. So, this is your true form. A weak-looking man. Shino regained his bearings and was ready to strike, only for Zoldio's body to start fading away. And no. Zoldio's freedom was short-lived, for committing the taboo of taking over a non-human body was severe. He disappeared from the world, leaving the ghost spirit and bug user by themselves. Thank you for freeing me, Lord Shino. Capricorn gave a small bow as a sign of gratitude. Think nothing of it, Capricorn. But I truly did not expect for a man to possess a celestial spirit. Shino stated, but he suddenly fell to one knee. Are you alright? Capricorn helped Shino up. That takeover of yours and the fact that you gave me some of your power has left you drained. You must conserve some of your strength. Lord Naruto will require your assistance to escape. I understand, but please tell me one thing. Why are they targeting Naruto too? He has been nothing but loyal to them. Shino asked Capricorn, who whilst being possessed, was aware of Zoldio's actions in his body and remembers everything. Lord Naruto was originally just a powerful wizard, but a few years ago, an experiment caused him to manifest a new form of darkness, other than the one he uses. I'm sure you noticed it on missions, especially when he experiences negative emotions. Capricorn made Shino recall all those times. Yes. Though lately he could use it without losing much control. What is it? The bug user inquired from the celestial spirit. He noticed the crimson darkness, and how much malice he could feel from it. Lord Naruto's brand of darkness magic is considered unique, but that other form of darkness magic is considered a mutation. Lord Hades planned on killing all of you to bring out Naruto's anger. That is all I mean Lord Zoldio, was informed of. Then we need a plan to save him and the others. Shino barely had any strength left to fight, so he tried thinking of an escape plan. Capricorn then spoke. I have an idea. But it will involve deception on my part. Capricorn told Shino his plan. Back with Naruto. I beat you already. Naruto was clashing with Kimimaro, who was much faster in his human form than his demonic form. I better watch out when he uses his demon form. But I don't have time for this. Naruto's thoughts were on his teammates. This time it will be different. Kimimaro moved towards Naruto, turning into his demonic form, only for Naruto to use his darkness to propel himself into the air. Sorry, but I don't have time to deal with you. Naruto strapped his sword on his back and then joined both his hands, using a darkness blast to his boost to head towards his allies. You won't escape me. Kimimaro went to chase Naruto only for a voice to stop him. Let him go, Kimimaro. Orochimaru and Hades appeared behind the youth. Lord Orochimaru. Lord Hades. Kimimaro kneeled before them. At ease, Kimimaro. You will get your chance against Naruto momentarily. Orochimaru was in a serious mood now. And we'll extract that power for Project Nobody. Lee's location. You have done well, Lee. Azuma stood over a fallen Lee, and his left hand was straightened. I wish that I did not have to kill you. You have so much potential to grow, both you and Naruto, but I am a wizard of Grimoire Heart and our goals are more important. Azuma went for the kill, only to be kicked by Naruto, who already had his marks and crimson eyes. Hands off. Naruto's teeth began to sharpen, and his eyes briefly glowed. He looked at Lee's beaten form and checked up on him. He's still breathing, thank God. Naruto glared at Azuma. I see you've arrived, Naruto. I hope you can give more of a challenge than Lee. Azuma smirked and was ready to fight an enraged Naruto. That's enough, Azuma. The cold voice called out from above. Both wizards looked up to see Altair appear above them on a broom. You're a sight for sore eyes. Naruto left his guard down, and did not expect to be hit multiple orbs. These are ours. Naruto's sigh of relief was gone almost instantly and replaced with rage, releasing a dark burst to shatter the orbs. You too. Naruto's voice sounded raspier. We have no use for you anymore, nor the traitors. Not that the information amounted to anything. In fact, they simply caused the death of their fathers. When Altair mentioned Choza and Shibi's deaths, Naruto stayed silent in disbelief. They're dead. Naruto's mind was going blank, but the sound of crazed laughter brought him back to the current situation. They ain't the only ones, the fat one's son bit the dust too. Zankro appeared with somebody over his shoulder. When Naruto saw the figure, his eyes whitened. Choji. Naruto saw Choji's charred body and moved before anyone could react. He punched Zankro and grabbed Choji's body. Naruto placed Choji's body gently on the ground and stared at his teammate's corpse. He's so unrecognizable, you'll pay. Apologies for my late arrival, but I have completed my task. Capricorn arrived with Shino's body and dropped it down. Just play dead Lord Shino so that we can escape. Capricorn hoped Shino would not become enraged or sad by Choji's death. Internally Shino was devastated, but he kept up his act until the opportunity presented itself. This is just sad. A few more people arrived, Kane, Rusterus and their youngest member, Merity. Naruto. I'm sorry, but you must perish for ultimate magic world. Rusterus stated. That nonsense again. Is that why you guys turned your back on me? Is it the real reason why my team are dead? Naruto said lowly, his rage about to burst. You bastards. Naruto released his rage as his magic became an explosive pillar, but this was what Hades and Orochimaru wanted. Suddenly, several strange magic circles appeared and held Naruto's power back. This is. Gramps. Naruto yelled out and glared at Hades, who appeared with Orochimaru and Kamimuro. Azuma. Altair. Do it now. Hades ordered as they both used their magic. Altair summoned a lacrima, and Azuma summoned a giant tree which held the orb. Hades used his special magic circles to absorb the dark power from Naruto's body. The tree began to rot and the orb cracked, but the combined effort of Altair and Azuma held them together using their own magical power until an explosion occurred. The tree was turned to ash, and the lacrima was covered in red electricity and completely pitch black. Naruto? Altair asked slowly. She was panting heavily from using her magic to keep the lacrima. When the dust settled, Naruto's condition was seen by the Grimoire Heart members. Naruto's eyes were completely white, and he fell. Some of the Grimoire Heart members felt real sadness at this, especially Altair. I'm sorry. But once we reach the ultimate magic world, I can bring you back to my side. Altair was originally against doing this too. Naruto, but her ambition ultimately won. However, she also believed that by reaching her goal, the amount of atrocities she committed would not matter. Are we going to leave him here? Altair asked. Hades. The aged master felt like he aged even more than he already had. Hades looked at the lacrima filled with Naruto's mutated power. The energy within the lacrima. It is more malicious than I expected. Hades could only imagine how Subject X would turn out by using this power. Let me end him. It'll be a mercy at this point. Zankro showed no sympathy and had flames engulf his hands. No, I shall be the one to end him. He is the second person to defeat me in combat, and I shall honor him by being the one to kill him. Kamimuro looked at Azuma, the only other person to defeat him in battle, and then turned his attention back to Zankro. I'm afraid I cannot allow that to happen. Shino's voice called out and a swarm of insects surrounded Naruto and Lee's bodies. Capricorn used this as a chance to go through the swarm and pick up Naruto and Lee. Something Hades noticed. Annoying flies. Zankro burned the insect swarm, but Shino and Capricorn already escaped. Capricorn helped them escape. That means Zoldio is no longer in control. Chase them. Except you, Orochimaru, take the lacrima and continue our work. Now go. The Grimoire Heart wizards and Kamimuro all took off. I underestimated your subordinates, Naruto. He then looked at the executioner's blade Naruto dropped. And you never unleashed this weapon's full potential. With Capricorn and Shino. It won't long until they find us, Lord Shino. I'm afraid that I'm almost at my limit. I cannot stay longer in the human world. Capricorn told Shino, who understood that celestial spirits could stay long in the human world, especially one who was taken over by a human, and forced to stay here for many years. They were running down a mountain path, where they could easily fall if they were attacked, but this is the safest route for them. I understand. But before your return to the celestial spirit world, please give Naruto your key. I am afraid that I will not survive this. Shino knew that at least one more person wouldn't survive this. I understand, Lord Shino. They both stopped and Capricorn laid the two fallen wizards down. Capricorn took out his key, which was attached to a chain, and placed it around Naruto's neck. Forgive me, Lord Shino. I wish I could take you with me, but I no longer have the power to do so. Capricorn did think about using his power earlier to take them to the celestial spirit world, but not only did he lack the power, human would have trouble staying in the celestial spirit world, and certain preparations needed to be made. Capricorn before he disappeared. Please, stay safe. I'm sorry you two, but our journey together shall end here. Shino summoned insects to pick up the two, but Kimimura was the first to appear, and he had a bone blade, aiming for Naruto. No. Shino would not be quick enough, but someone else saved Naruto in his stead. Lee had kicked Kimimura back. Lee. I'm fine, Shino. I heard your conversation whilst Mr. Capricorn was carrying us. I was able to recover my strength, but fully. The week before this fake mission, I was able to use one of the last lessons of Gai-sensei taught me. I cannot win in my current condition, but I can ensure their survival. I shall surpass my limits. Lee took his stance activated enhance, but he did not activate his berserk form. And no Lee. You'll die if you use this form again. Naruto's voice was heard, as the blonde regained consciousness too. You two recovered already, I am impressed. Kimimura stated simply. But you are not in full strength, Lee, I can tell. You cannot win against me, just like last time. Kimimura's words did not anger Lee. Instead, the boy with the bowl-cut hair checked in on Naruto, whilst maintaining his guard. Naruto. You are in much worse shape than I, you must escape. Shino, do what you can to get Naruto out of here. This is farewell, my friends. Lee was ready to unleash the rest of his power. But Shino stood by Lee's side. These fools were always loyal to you rather than Grimoire Heart. Too bad you will die here, Naruto. Altair arrived with the other Grimoire Heart members. Naruto managed to stand up. Then I'll die fighting. Naruto managed to channel darkness into his hands. This shocked a lot of the Grimoire Heart members. He should have been drained of magic power, but he can still use his magic. Master is right, if he leaves here alive, he could come back to ruin our plans. Forgive me, Naruto. Altair was about to order the others to attack, but was surprised to see Lee activate his berserk form, and Shino used takeover to change into his mantis form. But that was not the surprising part. Lee punched the ground and caused it to crack, forcing Naruto to fall. Lee. Shino. The two gave him a small smile as he fell. Naruto instinctively reached out to his teammates, but they already started their assault on the Grimoire Heart members, mainly to prevent Altair from restoring the ground in time to bring Naruto back to the mountain path. The last thing Naruto could hear was the screams of his comrades before he once again lost consciousness. He landed into a flowing river, with Grimoire Heart searching for his body to no avail. And sorry for the long wait and if this chapter appeared. Gosh. I wanted to get this story going, and this was supposed to be the last chapter for a while, because I wanted to write a few chapters for Fairy Tail Bonds, but I decided to write one more chapter for this story. I will not be writing for over 2 after 2 October, as I will be going to holiday to meet family. But if you have questions about this story, please PM me or leave a review. All will be revealed about Naruto's Crimson Darkness magic later on, and what project nobody is, but I'm sure fans of a certain JRPG can figure it out. Also, Lee in this chapter is pushing past his limits, using the last of his energy and power to hold back Grimoire Heart long enough to allow Naruto to escape. Way of the Sword. Way of the Sword. Joji Shino. Lee. Naruto opened his eyes and lifted his upper body up until he sat up straight. He was sweating and breathing heavily. Where am I? Naruto looked around to see himself in a Washitsu room. He looked at his arms and torso, finding himself covered in bandages. He also had bandages wrapped around his forehead. He was given a kimono. Suddenly, the door slid open to reveal an old man with long gray hair that reached to his waist, a gray goatee and mustache. He had distinct wrinkles underneath his black eyes, and bandages wrapped his head, and he wore a gray kimono. I see you are awake, young man. It is good to see that you are all right. I am Mifune. The now named Mifune introduced himself. He brought a tray with 2 cups and a teapot. Would you like some tea? Sure. Thanks, old man Mifune. Naruto's old man comment did not annoy Mifune at all. As Mifune poured tea for Naruto, the blonde began to think about what happened. Here, young one. Mifune passed Naruto his tea, with the young blonde thanking him before taking a sip. Thanks. Old man Mifune, where am I? How did you find me? How long was I out? And more importantly, were the other people with me? Naruto had man questions for the old man, but he decided to ask those 4 specifically, especially the last question. He sipped his own tea and then placed it down. You are in my home. I found your body whilst fishing in the river just at the outskirts. Your body must have traveled down from the river that resides below the mountains. You were out for 3 days at least, and I'm sorry, but I only found you. Mifune saw that Naruto was upset by this news. However, I have a few questions for you. Please do not feel pressured to answer unless you are comfortable to reveal what has happened to yourself. Mifune told Naruto politely and understandingly. It's only fair since I asked you and I didn't even tell you my name. My name is Naruto, pleased to meet you. Naruto bowed slightly. He was grateful to Mifune for treating his injuries and help him recover. A pleasure. Mifune bowed in return. My first question is, what caused your condition? He asked with curiosity. Naruto looked at his hands, gripping the sheets. I was betrayed by my guild and left for dead. Naruto was getting angrier by the second. My friends sacrificed themselves to save me. Which is how you found me. Naruto calmed himself down. His rage and reckless attitude cost him his friends. I sense much pain from you. I feel best we continue this conversation after a meal. Please join me. Mifune decided to drop the conversation as he could tell Naruto was not ready yet to talk about it yet. Grimoire Heart. This better work, otherwise, we sacrifice Naruto for nothing. Altair saw the orb hooked up to a giant machine which also had a large tube that had a humanoid figure inside it. True. He had the potential to surpass us, and he was a good comrade, one of the few lights this guild had. Despite possessing a magic which is the opposite, he certainly brightened up the place. Azuma also had fun sparring with Naruto and respected his strength. Unfortunately for him, his power was wasted on him. He did not have the will to use it to its full potential. Altair said coldly, though she did truly care for Naruto, now her goals were more important. That's called even for you. But I expect no less from the leader of the Seven Kin. Azuma said with some disappointment. He expected her to lobby for Naruto to remain a member, but it seems he was wrong about her bond with Naruto. Do not misunderstand, he was a good comrade, and our time together I wouldn't trade for the world. But he would not approve of the ultimate magic world, and that's why he was terminated. Altair retained her cold demeanor, and they would have continued their conversation if not for the ground shaking in shockwave. What is this? Altair and Azuma saw that the process was already taking place. They started already. Azuma stated out loud, and he could feel the power emanating from the tube. An explosion occurred shortly, with Azuma acting fast and summoning a giant tree to protect himself and Altair from the explosion. Master Hades. Altair called out, only to see Hades unharmed by the explosion. Yes, yes. Orochimaru yelled out, with the other 3 occupants looking at what emerged from the tube. Altair and Azuma were especially shocked to see what Subject X looked like, with even Hades a little surprised. Welcome to the world. Subject X. Orochimaru yelled out like a madman. No. He needs a real name and I already thought of one. Hades spoke up and looked at the humanoid whose appearance was covered in smoke. Since you like the letter X, we can incorporate it in his name. Subject X, from henceforth you shall be known as Roxodon. Hades declared. Roxodon, the now-born Roxodon spoke. His voice sounded so familiar, especially to Altair. Yes. You shall be a key part in reaching the ultimate magic world. Hades opened his arms and laughed at the heavens, now seeming like he was the madman instead of Orochimaru. Back with Naruto. Thank you for the meal. Naruto closed his hands and bowed. He looked at the room and saw a katana in a display case with its scabbard. Whoa, that's cool katana you have there, old man Mifune. Naruto, after learning to use his sword, took up lessons, and whilst he was no slouch, he was not a master swordsman just yet. Yes. That used to be my blade, Kurosawa. Even before I received it, this blade is considered a legendary sword because of its quality. It has been my companion in many battles and helped me defeat countless foes. Of course, the weapon is only as skilled as its wielder, never forget that. Mifune told Naruto. He nodded at this because he agreed that the weapon can be very dangerous, but the weapon would be extremely deadly with the right user. I'm a bit of a swordsman myself, though I use a greatsword. Naruto knew the type of weapon his blade was and is quite knowledgeable with weapons, thanks to his former guild master Hades. Well, after you answer my questions, I would like to see your skills, young Naruto. Mifune was interested in testing Naruto's skills as swordsman. Oh, right. What do you want to know? Naruto put his interest in swords aside for now. I hope he doesn't ask about Grimoire Heart. Well, Naruto was naive. Now that he no longer had allies in Grimoire Heart, he knew that the Magic Council would be after him if they discovered him as a former member. But he lives alone and he might not know how to contact the Magic Council or even heard about Grimoire Heart. Were you a member of Grimoire Heart? Mifune asked, shocking Naruto in comedic fashion. I was the one who bandaged you, and I saw your guild mark. Just because I live by myself in a secluded area does not mean I am ignorant of the outside world. But please answer my question, were you in actuality a member of one of the most fearsome dark guilds? Mifune had a stern expression which made Naruto sweat nervously for a moment until he sighed. Yeah, I was. But I never did all that stuff dark guilds usually do. Naruto admitted. He never killed people and only really killed monsters, mindless demons and animals. And what you mean by that? Please explain. Mifune knew that most dark guilds had their own agenda and committed terrible deeds for their goals. I mean, I never really killed people, just mindless demons and wild animals. I did beat up a few people because of missions though, and I did steal a lot of things. Oh, and vandalism too. Naruto unintentionally mentioned his past crimes, which made Mifune's sweat drop. He may be a dark wizard, but he has a good heart. That and he doesn't seem too smart. Mifune stopped Naruto from speaking any further by lifting his right hand up and motioning for the young blonde to stop. Please stop talking. I believe that you are not a bad person, but you are delinquent. Mifune just sighed. That will be all for my questions. Now follow me. Mifune told Naruto, without giving the blonde a chance to reply, and he got up, with Naruto following the old man to another room. Whoa. Naruto and Mifune were now in a forge, with many weapons on display. Mifune then pointed towards a greatsword. I believe you said that you used a greatsword. I did not lie when I said that I wished to see your skills. So please, let us step outside and show me what you can do. Mifune smiled as Naruto was able to easily pick up the greatsword. Outside training area, 1 hour later, Fairy Tail asked invoke magic. Now, come at me. Mifune gripped his katana, which was still in its sheath. Naruto looked at Mifune, gauging his strength before he attacked. Naruto rushed towards Mifune, swinging his greatsword at Mifune, but before it landed, it seemed Naruto had hit an invisible force, because his weapon was parried. He did not notice Mifune's hand twitch at first, but he decided to take it up a notch. Let's speed up. Naruto managed to pull his greatsword back, aiming for Mifune again. This time he witnessed Mifune's hand twitch, and his greatsword was parried again. It's not an invisible barrier, and he definitely moved. Dark magic. Frenzy strike. Naruto's swings became faster, and the darkness channeled through the greatsword became wilder. He's figured it out. Mifune's movements could be seen clear. Previously, Mifune unsheathed his sword swiftly to block Naruto's strike, and then unsheathed it afterwards, making it seem like he did not move at all, except for a brief flicker of the wrist. Mifune unsheathed his blade, and he blocked each strike, not sheathing his blade this time around. His power is surging, and he can wield the greatsword as if it was a katana. Impressive for someone so young. Better watch out, old man, because I'm full of surprises. Naruto released a dark shockwave from his blade, but Mifune moved back, placing his sword back into his sheath. He can react to my attacks. That means he's predicting my moves. The way he took out his katana to block my strike the first time, he did it so fast that the naked eye can't see it. That's some technique. Naruto was impressed and excited to fight someone this skilled. I am impressed, but I believe that I have seen enough. So, I shall end this. Mifune gripped his katana tightly and was surrounded by white aura briefly before moving with great speed. Ascend. What? Naruto was now on his back, the greatsword was knocked out of his hands, and Mifune pointed his katana towards Naruto before sheathing his blade again. You have skill, my boy, but you have yet to refine it. Mifune's bandages were suddenly cut open and fell on the floor. Mifune then held his head. He managed to cut me. Mifune did not expect to be hit by an attack, although all Naruto did was cut the bandages on his head, it revealed his scar. Mifune then resheathed his katana and offered his hand to Naruto, who accepted. So, what does mean? Naruto was genuinely confused, but he was also hoping to improve his skills. I mean that you are a good swordsman, but you can improve it and rely more on your skill alongside your power. Mifune gave a small smile. I shall teach you the way of the sword and help you create your own style. Really? What's the catch? Naruto, whilst he appeared like his usual cheerful self, he was not sure that he could trust Mifune, despite the old man saving his life, because he was only recently betrayed by his guild, including those he was close to. I understand that being betrayed by those you call friends has left its mark on you. You do not have to trust me but trust in yourself. You are welcome to stay the night and make your decision tomorrow. Mifune bowed and left the training area. I feel weaker, but that's no excuse. I can't use that power anymore. Naruto was referring to his crimson darkness. But I don't need it. I can become stronger. Naruto then thought of Kakuzu and his former Grimoire Heart guildmates. There's just more targets for me this time. Naruto went back inside to find Mifune. He found Mifune in his study and then bowed with his head touching the floor. Please teach me. And help me get stronger. Play One Piece asked the very strongest. This boy, he has pain in his heart. I can feel the need for vengeance, but there's something more within this boy. Mifune stood up and grabbed a sword. Stand up. Pick up your weapon and we commence training at once. At this Naruto looked up and smiled. Yes, sensei. Naruto called him teacher as a sign of respect. At least he has some manners. I shall guide you as best as I can. Mifune once again took a stance and as Naruto charged at him with his blade. He's taking this a lot more seriously. Excellent. Mifune smiled and their blades collided, causing a shockwave. Sorry for the long wait and shorter chapter. I went on holiday but did not enjoy much of it due to the family. Next time I write a chapter for this story, there will be a time skip. Mifune is currently more skilled than Naruto, and whilst Naruto is good, he can improve. Mifune has years of experience, and in a pure sword battle, he will beat Naruto most of the time. But Naruto has lost some of his edge, and he could have put up a better fight than what was shown here. He will become stronger and better than before. He will switch to a katana, but can still use other swords with the same skill, including his greatsword. Please be patient me, I am a lot busier these days than ever before. My next few chapters will be for Fairy Tail Bonds, which I haven't updated in a while.